All right.
I just smoked in my room.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, guys, welcome back to the 24 Down podcast, episode 34. It's a big episode today, one that I think some people thought would never happen, but we're here and it's happening. So I want to bring in our guest for today, the one and the only Mr. Alex Anderson. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Welcome to my show, the Alex Show. It's good to be here.
When was the last time you did a podcast?
Probably last year. We stopped doing it. I mean, for those of you who don't know, me and Phil did a podcast for a while, but over the last couple of years, it's kind of died off because we're doing the wrestling thing.
Yeah. Well,
I don't like podcasts that much. I mean, Phil's all about it, but I'm really not a big talker, contrary to what people may think. I don't like talking.
I think I've shared a little bit over the episodes here and there that really my like deep dive into podcasting was with you guys. Like, you know, when
That's
you guys
right.
first started your podcast back in what, like 2000, I don't know, 15, maybe earlier. I don't remember how
It's
long
been a
ago
while,
was.
and it might have even been before that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we started doing it like 2013 or something.
Yeah. And I remember like listening to the first few episodes, and I was like, oh, this is really cool, you know. And jokingly, I was like, man, like, when are you guys going to have me on? And then lo and behold, you guys had me on. And then shortly after, I think I just became a third man almost. And so that was a lot of fun.
Third man in.
Yeah.
Not like the joke. And then it spurred off a couple other projects that never really hit the the English Hat Makers. You guys still on episode 4 on that one?
I think so. Maybe 3 or 4, something like that. Still waiting for that tournament to close out. Remember, we started doing that tournament.
That's right. Yeah, that must have been a lot of work because I think the podcast shut down shortly after that.
Well,
go
ahead.
No, I was just saying it's been interesting listening to the 24 Down podcast for sure. I mean, I don't even know half these guys, to be honest with you. I don't know who Franco is. I got the list here. Like, who the hell's Franco? Fraz, who's Fraz?
So both those guys were before I was a student. So maybe your first year they might have been there, but I don't like the Fraz guy was only there for, from what I understand, just a few weeks because he got kicked out.
Yeah, did he really?
Yeah. So
I guess I got to listen to that when we have something in common.
Right. But yeah, so the thing that I like about this podcast is the spectrum of different guests you've got on from different years and things like that. So it's interesting, and it's always cool to hear perspectives and stories from times you weren't even around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the 24 Down family, quote unquote, did that started before you got there?
Yeah. So I'm not like the best with like timelines, but from my understanding, it was the year before I came or 2 years before I came, when it was like Buddha and Tim Sarajan and Samsung and some other people that were there like very early on, and they just kind of struck a bond and just got close, and eventually I think from what I've heard, like my first year was when it like really just became something huge.
Okay.
I guess in the grand scheme of Valley Forge, huge,
yeah.
You know. But
it was huge. It was like the fucking NWO, I can tell you that. First F-bomb with the podcast. Sorry about that.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, because I remember my first year, I want to say it's 2006. I don't know. I guess it was. Because you came 2007?
I thought I came 06, but I might have come 07. I don't remember.
So I think I was there a full year before you got there.
Yeah, you for sure were. I just can't
remember. I remember. So, I mean, you remember when we did the campus police video, right? You've seen that?
I've seen it, but I don't know if I was a student then. And if I was, I had no idea it was even going on. I never saw it.
Well, I don't think you were there, but I mean, because Tom's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that my second semester there. That was towards the end of my second semester, first year. And so we went to 24 Down, and, you know, we did the whole thing with Tom, the bit. Didn't know we were coming. We arrested him or tried to arrest him, whatever. And, I mean, I recognize a few of the guys down there. I don't remember having too many interactions with the guys down there. I knew a few of them. I mean, I think Francis and Eugene were down there probably. I met those guys in my first year, during my first year. But I mean, it didn't really seem like a big thing back then. So I mean, the second year is when I think it really took off. That's what I mean, like the NWO. It started out small, and all of a sudden, like the whole school was like part of the crew. I'm like, what is going on? I remember my second year, me and my brother moved to Bongiorno, so I bounced around a lot. When I first got there, we were in an apartment because Phil, Todd, Jeremy Sexton, we were all living in an apartment 23. And then I kind of got sick of that and kind of wanted to branch out on my own because I was like, well, I really need to like meet other people. Because when you're in an apartment situation, it's almost like a floor deal. You kind of like never leave there. You're kind of in there a lot. And like they were getting older. They were juniors at the time. So I kind of wanted to branch out. So I ended up moving to 24 up my second semester, where people go to die apparently because there's no bond on that floor. I mean, I met Dwayne Lee up there, but there was like nothing going on up there. But I don't remember hearing about like 24 down being a thing until my second year. Like I was saying, just to go back, me and my brother ended up going to Bongiorno. It was Phil's last year. So anytime you're a senior, you're kind of burnt out. You kind of just want to go away. And so we never like lived in a nice place. Not that Bongiorno was nice, but it was nicer. It's still kind of an ugly building. But we decided to room together and go to Bongiorno. And you remember like they used to have the meetings when you first got there?
Like the floor meetings?
No, like everyone would go to the chapel. It was like a welcome thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did they used to do that?
Yeah.
So my second year, I'm walking out of Bongiorno with Phil, and I just see this mass of people just walking across the field, from 24. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, who are all these people? Like, there's no way they're all from 24, but they're all together. It was all you guys. They're all together, walking, chanting, doing whatever. I'm like, what? Like, what in the heck? And that was the first time I was like, oh, wow, I guess they get a big group going over there now. But yeah, so the second year, I think, was really we started to notice 24 down.
Yeah.
Family things started happening.
Right. Well, let's hop right into the first part of the show, which will be you kind of giving everybody a overview of what you've been doing since you left Valley Forge leading up until now, and you can go as long or short as you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just the basic storyline. So, I mean, you talk about after the first time you left or the second time?
The second time. We'll get into that at different time.
So, the second time, what happened was when I came back, basically I was going on my own dime. So when I first got there, my mom and stepdad were paying for everything, and we had the grants and all that stuff. When I went back, I was completely on my own. Had to take out my own loans, had to do all my own stuff. Made it through one semester. Then the crash of 2008 happened. Remember that? The whole economy just tanked. And literally halfway through the school year, like, oh yeah, sorry, we can't honor your loan. So basically, I had to leave mid-semester again, which sucked. I mean, I didn't have to. Like, I would have had to have worked full-time, or I don't know. It was like a lot of money that I couldn't afford.
Sure.
As soon as I lost that loan, I was like, I can't do this. So I left mid-semester. I think I stayed around the area. I think we still hung out a little bit. And it kind of, the next few years kind of bounced around, from Massachusetts. My mom lived in Florida at the time. I think I went down there a little bit, but I mean, I kind of just bounced back and forth for the first few years. I was 20 years old, 21, 22, 23, basically not really doing much. I mean, I didn't have a job for a while. I didn't have a car for a while, pretty much bumming it. And then eventually I got to the point, I was living in Massachusetts. I was working for Polar Beverages, doing stocking, stuff like that. And I was just, I'm just sick of Massachusetts. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to go down to Florida. I basically had three options: Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, or Florida. And I was like, you know what? I really did like it in PA. The time I spent there, I know people there still. Let me just try it out. In 2011, I went back here, or I came back here full time. Still wasn't doing great. I had to live with roommates, do this and that. I worked at Staples. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Because I think it was at that time you and the twins, Francis and Eugene, were around.
Yep.
That's when we started hanging out a lot post college, and so I really wasn't doing much until I finally got a decent job with a medical company. It's kind of funny because Murph works for an insurance company, so like I kind of worked like the other end of it. I work for a medical supply company now, been doing it since 2014, late 2014, Adapt Health. Francis used to work there. I don't think he likes the place too much, but it's done all right by me. I've been working there ever since. I'm actually a supervisor now for my team, and just working, just working, and finally got my own place now. So that's pretty much it. Just living life.
And you're still pretty much right in the heart of Valley Forge area, right? Because you're not too far from Phoenixville, right?
I'm not. Well, I live in Spring City now, an apartment complex. So I did live in Phoenixville. I actually lived um, right on Charlestown Road, right near the school.
Yeah.
I lived with Brian Kroll, and we rented out a modular home that was owned by Dr. Marino, which a lot of people probably don't know. I guess his mom was living. He like bought a modular home for his mom, basically, and then she passed, and then he started renting it out. And so he was my landlord for a couple of years, which was interesting.
And then I mean I remember that place pretty fondly.
Yeah, that's right. You've been around there.
Yeah, because at the time when you were living there, I was still living in Pennsylvania, and I was working at the Y still. So there were many nights where I would get out of work, which was literally right down the road from where you were living, text you, and what was the name of the bar that was right across the street?
Black Horse.
The Black Horse. We go in there for a little while, or
I probably almost got hit so many times in that road because I used to walk because it was right there.
Right.
Like there's a couple times I walked back. I don't remember walking back. That must have been a sight for some people.
Now, was that bar there when we were students?
It was, but it was from what I heard, it was like super divey, super like not safe.
I remember
Black Horse is actually kind of a chain.
Okay.
So somebody bought it, fixed it up.
I remember the other bar that was like on the kind of the opposite corner of campus on Charlestown Road. I remember that bar, but I don't ever remember Black Horse until after college and then hanging out with you and going there.
Right. Yeah. In college, I didn't really drink. I never drank at all. I was no, I mean, I actually didn't. I didn't go. I wasn't 21. I wasn't 21 until after school.
Oh, really?
When I was in Valley Forge, I mean, when I got kicked out, I was 19. I didn't ever go out to any bars or anything. I never went anywhere, to be honest with you. It's kind of the weird thing about Valley Forge. It kind of like was a weird bubble. Strange place. But no, I never knew about it till afterwards. No.
Well, so I mean, like, that kind of gives us a quick little overview of what you've been doing the past few years.
Right. Not much.
I know your brother constantly tries to get you to move back to Massachusetts.
Right.
How long do you think you're going to be in Pennsylvania? You think it's more of a permanent thing, or you think it's just for now? Like,
I mean, I just go wherever God takes me. So I mean, no, I have no desire to go back home. No, I don't. It's really expensive. I actually know more people here now than I do in Massachusetts. I can always go back home. I go home multiple times a year. Honestly, I couldn't afford it. Sorry, my cats are making noise back there.
You're good.
I don't think I could afford it. Like, you know how expensive it is out there. The taxes are really high. It's depressing in the winter. I don't know. I don't see myself going back. Not unless I like had a family or something.
Right.
If I maybe had a family. I do have my company does have a branch out there now, so I could make it work, but I have no desire to go back there now.
Well, I know, like, for me, like, man, the people that I know in Pennsylvania, like, are such good friends. You know, the English twins, everybody in the 24 Down family, like even some of the people I worked with and everything like that. And like, I love all the people that I was close with when I lived in Pennsylvania. But man, no offense to the people that still live there, I hate that state. Like, I couldn't.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's like, because I'm from a very like Metro Detroit, so it's like very populated. And Pennsylvania, that area of Pennsylvania, I mean, it's not bad, but still, like, when you got to drive 20 minutes to go do anything, like, it's
right.
It just wasn't for me, you know.
It does turn into like farmland and like real PA Dutch real quick. I mean, you go 10 minutes down the road. And I agree with you. I don't like that part of it, but I mean, I just don't go out there.
Yeah. The other thing,
I go to town. I mean, I know what you're talking about, like that farmy and the weird, like.
Yeah, and I think the other thing for me too is like literally just driving. Like, here, if I have to drive 5 miles, it takes me maybe 5-10 minutes. There, if I have to drive 5 miles, it's taking me 25-30 minutes because the roads are so weird. Everything's just one lane road each way and like 30 miles an hour. And it's like, God, like, and
Yeah, sometimes you have to go around because like the highway doesn't give you. I'm not used to living in a place where the highway doesn't give you what town you want to go to.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, so. I like it here though.
No, it's cool. I love coming back and visiting. And every time I come back and visit, in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I do miss it. But like, I know that if I were to theoretically move back to Pennsylvania within a year or two, I'd be like, fuck, man, I miss Michigan again. You know,
Right.
so
Well, you're Detroit's native son. What can you do? You know?
well,
you gotta be close to those Red Wings.
yeah, hell yeah.
Let's go, Detroit.
They start their season tonight. You want a hockey minute? No, just kidding.
No. I don't have the blowhorn ready, whatever it is.
Well, we can get into the questions here. There's quite a few questions from quite a few people.
Is.
And I think
is Buddha not joining us tonight?
Buddha is not joining us tonight.
Okay.
I think he, if I remember correctly, I think he does something with his church on Thursday nights. So Thursdays are usually pretty hard for him, but
he's a pastor, right?
Yep. Yeah, pastor in Yonkers.
Yonkers, New York.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's quite a bit of questions, and I think some of these questions will lead into some stories, and that's fine. And then I know you're going to have some stories you want to get into as well. So,
Shoot.
We'll just start. We'll go right into it. So the first question, and this is one of the questions that is a reoccurring question, comes from my first RA. Did you ever know Carlos, or did you really just like kind of know of him?
No, but I know he hates my guts, or he hated my guts.
Oh, from
yeah.
From
so I mean, I just want to say, just like a disclaimer here. I mean, I don't hate anybody. You know, I don't even think about school anymore, which is weird because like I used to live like right down the street from it. Never thought about it. I used to play softball there. Never thought about it at all. Like, I mean, I hope everyone's doing well. Like, there's people I hated at the time, and like I'll bring it up. But I mean, I don't. You know. So I just want to get that out there. I'm pretty sure he hated me though because of what happened.
Right. Well, I mean, it'd be interesting to hear his take because, like, to be honest, like when I reached out to him to get him like involved in this whole thing for like the episode 24 and everything, I kind of had that same mentality. Like, dude, Carlos has to hate me for all the shit that I put him through. He's got to just hate me. And he was so like open and welcoming and humble. Like you could just tell, like, he did a lot of growing up. I mean, he was already way more mature than all of us anyway, but like he did even more growing up. And where it's like, I don't know that he would actually hate you or hold anything against you or anything like that, you know?
Right. But, I mean, I'm just talking about like at the time. I'm sure. I know for a fact he did.
Sure. Well, I mean, but, I did too.
But I mean, you know, we're talking about 14 years ago, man. I mean, 14 years is a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, if anybody's holding any grudges, I mean, at this point, I mean, geez.
Right.
Gosh.
Well, his question, and this is what he wants to ask everybody, is if you could.
Oh, he's asking a question. Oh my
God.
Oh
yeah. Yep. If you could develop a Valley Forge / 24 down escape room, what would the puzzles that you would implement to get out of the room? It's a tough question. I need to start giving this question to people in advance to give them time to think about
puzzles. What puzzles? Like what scenario he means?
Yeah, like.
I would say you'd have to go into the cafeteria, and you'd have to eat all the shitty food, and then figure out the way to get the hell out of there. How bad was the food? My gosh. They still have Sodexo in there, whatever it was?
I have no idea. Well, it was Sodexo, and then they switched to what, Aladdin, and then they went back to Sodexo.
Aladdin? Was that the real name?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Aladdin.
I'm pretty sure Aladdin's the company they switched to, and then they went back to Sodexo.
Dude, how bad was the food on the weekend? So I've heard you talk about this a lot, like as I've been listening, going through, like how everyone goes home on the weekend.
Yeah.
Which, you know, was good and bad. It kind of sucked. Because like they would just make the shittiest food on the weekend.
It was like, all the leftovers.
It was the leftovers. Like I used to get so happy when they had the fried ravioli because at least, you know, it's tasted somewhat good. But sometimes you walk in there, man, you feel like you're in prison.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they had one option. It's just like, what in the world? This is what I'm paying for?
Well,
$20,000?
When your best option is, let's be honest, like shitty pizza, but it tasted so good because everything else was so bad. Like
I've had better pizza at 7-Eleven at 2 a.m.
Well, right. But like, don't you think that sometimes you were like, oh, thank God they have pizza out. And it was like, that's not saying much.
It's funny. I do remember being bummed out when there was no pizza.
Right.
It was like the worst pizza too.
Right.
Because like didn't they have like a salad bar?
Yeah.
You know, I'd grab like a piece of celery and a piece of pizza. I wish I could remember some of the meals they were making on the weekend, but my gosh, I just remember that being a thing. Like, my brother had a bottle of Pepto-Bismol on standby at all times.
Well, then like the other thing too is like when they finally would have something that was like, okay, this is actually really good, you would never see that item again. Like, why not?
Didn't they eventually go to like a second dinner or something?
Yeah, they had fourth meal, I think they started calling it.
Well, for some of the people, that was probably seventh meal. I mean, let's be honest. Fourth meal, that's right. Didn't you have to like choose which one you wanted to go to?
I don't know. I think so, because there were meal plans and you could get like certain whatever meal plan you wanted, whether it was.
Yeah. I definitely didn't do breakfast. I don't think I ever went to breakfast.
See, I went to breakfast sometimes, but yeah, I don't know.
No shady maple, we'll put it that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of it. That's the best thing I can think of for that question.
That's good. That's good. This is one of the questions that I am starting to ask everybody. And you went through your jobs like post college. Did you have any jobs while you were a student?
Over the table or under the table?
Either one.
I worked at Staples. That's where I got my initial contact with Staples.
Okay.
I pretty much followed my brother around like up until like I was 20 years old, because he went to college, I went to college. He worked at Staples, I started working at Staples. But I don't think I started working until my second year. I don't think I worked at all my first year.
Okay.
Which is weird to think about. Hang on a second. I fucking can't.
For those of you watching on YouTube, I'll just pause for a second while Alex takes care of his cats real quick. Getting the ashtray.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I don't. Just job. We were just talking jobs.
Oh, the job thing. Yeah. You want to just pause so we can?
Yeah, I got the edit time, so you're good.
Okay.
Just pick
What's
it up.
the last thing I said?
I don't remember. I mean, I can just go into the next thing if you want.
I was gonna say, okay, ready? I was gonna say, I didn't work my entire first year, and it's weird thinking about it, how I like had no money. Like, can you imagine like living life without no money? I basically did that. Like, I don't know. I think I had a credit card, which I barely used. But like, I think I had like $100 in my bank account like the whole first year. Just weird living like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I had a job the whole time I was in college. And so like I always had, it wasn't like I had a shit ton of money by any means,
Right.
But like I had money. I could go out to Wawa. I could go buy this CD that just came out or whatever,
Right. Well, when you started going there, weren't you like 29 already?
I was trying to think about that the other day. I think I was.
Who was the oldest ever to attend Valley Forge as a freshman? You or Andrew?
As a freshman, probably me, I would think. Because I think, yeah.
Andrew was older too, right?
Yeah. I think I was 22 when I started going to Valley Forge, I think.
Oh, really? I thought they were like older. Okay.
I could have been. I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, I worked at Staples my second year.
Okay. I got another question for you, but I'm going to save that for a little bit later because I think it'll fit in with something else. So, all right, next set of questions here comes from your former roommate, Murph.
And Murphy Lee.
Yeah. His first question, he says, 110 had a special bond with a few people. One person in particular was Dan Hand, aka Donald Foote. What's one or two of your favorite Dan Hand stories?
Here we go. All right. Well, I mean, we got a couple, don't we?
Yeah.
Geez. Dan Hand. Again, don't hate. I just want to preface this by saying I don't hate Dan. I actually did like Dan, but he was an easy guy to mess with. Took himself a little too seriously. Didn't he used to wear like a trench coat or something?
Maybe.
Wasn't he a trench coat guy?
There was a kid that wore a trench coat. I don't know if Dan did, but he might have.
I'm pretty sure it was Dan Hand. He looked, because we joked around and said he was like the Undertaker or something. Remember? Dan Hand. Listen, I mean, Murph is a nice guy. He's not gonna, talk trash on anybody, which you don't need to. But I mean, my gosh, Dan. I mean, the guy. I know Murph brought up he used to do prayer meetings in the hallway, and it's just like, dude. I mean, come on. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, it's like, listen, if the Holy Spirit can meet you in the hallway, it can meet you in your damn room. Like, you don't need to be out there with a blanket over your head. Like doing a prayer meeting in the hallway. It's like, bro, it's like public domain here. Like, he was just that kind of guy. He was very, took himself very seriously. I liked him. I thought he was fun but he probably didn't like me too much, and I know he didn't like us too much because he said so. When I was okay, Dan Hand story. So we had like a cave set up. So you know what that means. You got the bunk, you got the bed on the floor, you got a blanket, you got a cave. I was in the cave.
Yep.
This particular time I was in the cave. And I don't know if I was just taking a nap or whatever, but it wasn't late at night. I think I was just chilling in there. I don't know. And then Murph's in there, and then walks Dan Hand, self-righteous Dan Hand. Here he comes. Okay. He's like, I just want to talk to you for a second. I don't really remember his voice, but I want to talk to you, Brad. I think he called him Brad. I think he was like the only guy that called him Brad. He might have been. I just want to talk to you for a second, get you on the right path. Guys like Josh and Alex, you don't want to be hanging out with them. I just think they're bad influences on you. And I'm literally in the room. You say this. To this day, I wanted to jump out, but I just felt bad. I didn't want to jump out and like embarrass him.
Right.
So I didn't do it. But he was just like talking all this trash, and then he's just like, I just, you're a good kid. I want to make sure his heart was in the right place. He was like,
sure.
Make sure you're not going down a bad path. And I'm like in my bed. I'm like, you son of a bitch. All right. Like, but I got it. But he's like, well, listen, if you ever have any trouble, if you're ever struggling with anything, let me know. You can always come and talk to me. I recently just got masturbation under control, and that was a tough. That was a tough one. Murph, to his credit, he just like, okay, yeah, I got you, buddy. And then he walked out of the room. That's Dan Hand in a nutshell.
I mean, like you said, because I like Dan too. I actually liked Dan a lot.
I did like Dan.
Yeah. But he was somebody that I think in that time frame, we really enjoyed getting a reaction out of people, whether it was a good reaction, a bad. We just liked doing things to see the reaction we could get. And he was somebody you were like, you could guarantee to get an interesting reaction from. So like,
when somebody, who asked him this, if you could suck your own dick, would you do it? Who asked him that? Was that you?
Probably. It was me or you, I'm sure.
Dan, I mean, think about this. This poor guy, he's just dedicated to his, what he's doing, and these idiots are messing with him. But it is what it is. Someone, could you just S or D? Would you do it? Yeah, I don't think I would do that.
I don't want to answer that question.
No, that's right. You don't want to answer. That's right. Poor Dan, dude. Oh, good guy. I'm sure he's leading some cult somewhere, but.
Dude, I would love to talk to, like, I don't think
Me too.
I don't think he's a part of the Facebook group or anything like that. So he might not even know this exists. I would love to like find him and have a conversation with him and pick his brain and everything like that. Maybe we can get him on
I'm sure he's out tending his flock. He's a good guy, man. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So Murph's next thing is he says, never have I met someone that could do impressions like you. What was or is your favorite impression to do? And please follow up with an impression. And then he gives some examples. Ron Hall, Peter Englert, Timothy Treadwell, Grizzly Man, Murph's dad, Mark Telesha, Stone Cold Dan Hand. He said I'll stop there. But so
Murph's
what was your
dad? Spike. Murph's dad's name is Spike.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a cool guy. Because we went to Buffalo. This is reminding me of a story when we went to Buffalo, which is gonna spun a web of a whole bunch of other stories. Man, my favorite impression to do, the Timothy Treadwell one. I forgot about that. Jeez, we watched that documentary like every night for like a week straight. Ghost, what are you doing with that hat? Remember that?
No.
Timothy Treadwell. You don't remember? Grizzly Man. So Grizzly Man was a documentary about a guy named Timothy Treadwell. So he shot his own footage, but the documentary was made after his death because he ended up getting eaten by a grizzly bear. So the documentary was about him, but all the footage was like of him. And he loved his animals, and eventually it cost him his life, which is a sad story. But
For
we
sure.
used to quote that. We used to quote that movie, man. Timothy Treadwell. Yep. Ghost, give me that hat. Where you going with that hat? Somewhere in Buffalo, Mer's dying laughing. I like that. I don't have a favorite impression. The Ronald Hall one, I don't know if I can do anymore. First of all, I haven't seen the guy in forever. I heard he had some health problems or something, right?
Oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah, I heard he had like really. This is a while ago, so I hope he's all right. But that one was done for Campus Police because we did the Campus Police video. So that one, I mean, Ronald Hall, he had a higher pitched voice, but you got to kind of do it from the back of your throat. Like, I'm Doctor. Like, how did he sound? I don't even remember. Do you remember how he sounded? I'm Dr. Ronald Hall. Come to my seminar. He used to talk about relationships. Come to my seminar and we'll do some relationship talk. Something like that. I'm probably butchering it.
Well, this was brought up on Murph's podcast, and I don't think it's been talked about prior to Murph's podcast, but like Murph's podcast was the perfect place to like do it. But do you remember the deer hunting?
No.
You don't remember? Okay, so there's like, I don't remember what this was. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of people, but it was Sonia, and I don't remember. Claire was maybe hanging out with Claire at the time.
Yes, Claire Elliott.
Yeah, and they made some video, whether it was MySpace or Facebook or something like that, about them going deer hunting. and
I don't remember it, but I mean, I can hear the voice now in my head as
they're doing this whole thing, like they finding the tracks and all this kind of stuff. But it starts off with her going, and today we will be going deer hunting. I remember like that me and Murph would always just crack up about that. Like,
yeah,
that was one of the impressions I remember you doing quite a bit and everything.
So, what was her name? Sophie?
Sonia?
Sonia.
Sonia.
Sonia. Sweet girl. I don't want to do it now. I feel bad. That's Murph's girl, man. That's girl. I'm going to leave it at that. Hey, Murph.
So his next thing is he says you're low-key talented at a lot: comedy, acting, music, love making, etc. If you had to pick one line of work to be a professional in, what would it be? Examples: actor, pro wrestler, drummer, comedian.
That's a great question. Was this Murph too?
Yeah.
So at different points in my life, I wanted to be a lot of different things. So I was a business major at Valley Forge. I was actually a pastoral ministry major at one point, if you could believe that. And I switched to business. And Dr. Sheets, remember Dr. Sheets?
Mm-hmm.
Gave me this whole lecture how I'm making a mistake and all that. Okay. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But my goal at the time was to become like a general manager of like a sports organization. I'm big into statistics and stats and stuff. So that was like one of my pipe dreams. That was kind of like my goal. I wanted to get my MBA and do that. As far as like, there was a point in my life where I wanted to be a professional wrestler. Thank gosh I didn't. I don't have the body for it. Clearly, if you've seen WrestleFest 6, this body ain't taking bumps in a real ring. I did think about being an actor a lot. If I had to choose, but I don't think I'm that pretentious. So I don't think I could ever be an actor. Like, how many cool actors do you know, really?
Right.
Think about it.
Right.
Gosh, I mean, but I really feel like if I was going to be something, it would be in the entertainment field. If I was to choose, it would be like a comedian, maybe a stand-up comedian. Although I don't like stand-up that much. I'm more of a character actor, I guess you could say. I would probably do that. Try to get on that Saturday Night Live. And then they would kick me out for drinking.
You sure you don't want to be? You're too pretentious to be an actor. You just said that you're a better character actor. Like, that was pretty pretentious sounding. I'm a character actor.
You know how it is. It's the Bud Ice talking.
I'm fucking with you.
I just love theater. Just so great.
No, it's good. So
love Murph.
I think like for me, if I had to if I had to pick a career for you, I would definitely say something with comedy, because literally, like, you are quite honestly like the funniest guy that I've ever met. I know a lot of
I
people
try to
think,
be.
and
Yeah.
so one of the things I think is really interesting and unique, and I'll never forget this, is like, I remember telling you at one point this years ago how I was like, yeah, like, dude, hands down, you are the funniest person that I've
Mhm.
ever met. And I remember you were like, okay, well, the funniest person that I know is my brother.
Oh yeah.
You view your brother as the funniest, and your brother's fucking hilarious too. Like, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. So it was just like, but you guys do have the same humor, and
Yeah.
you guys get it from your dad 100%. If you guys haven't
Mhm.
met Wally, Wally's Alex turned to like level 20, you know.
If you ever understand, like, why are these Anderson brothers so weird and why are they so crazy? Just spend a half an hour with Wally Anderson. You'll figure it out pretty damn quick. Wally came to Valley Forge.
When did he come, like, early on, or
No, he came. So my second tenure, when I was with you guys, he came,
okay.
and he met Matthias.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Matthias has a question about that, so I'll save that for later.
All right, so Murph's next thing, and honestly, like, I completely forgot about this until he texted to me the other day, and I'm curious to see if you remember this. So it's just, he's just talking about a story. He's talking about, he thinks of me and you flipping off campus and saying "fuck you, Valley Forge" as we drove off for spring break to Buffalo. Do you remember that? We're like,
Nope.
drive. I think, I don't know, maybe Tom was driving probably, and we're literally like hanging out the window on campus, like just middle finger in the air, like "fuck you, Valley
Do you
Forge."
remember this? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I like completely forgot about it until he brought it up, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's
Do not
hilarious."
remember that.
Yeah,
Needless to say, I was pretty jaded by that point.
for sure.
I almost left pretty much after every semester I was there. I'm serious. Like, besides the first one, when you first get there, it is what it is. So I basically went there because I wanted to go to college. I wanted to get away from home. The only thing that my mom and stepdad were going to pay for was Valley Forge Christian School. Phil was going there. I piggybacked off him. I met his friends. I went there. I went to like a breakaway. Remember that was like a thing
Mhm.
with high school. And I'm like, this is great. I could come here. I have friends already. Get an education. Try to get education. And but I mean, you could just tell early on. I mean, man, what a place! What a strange place.
For sure.
It wasn't meant to be.
I think they
Trust me,
could
I tried twice.
I think they could definitely do, not that it'll never happen, but I think there could definitely be a very good documentary done on Valley Forge and how just weird of a place it was, and
Yeah,
almost cult like at times.
yeah,
And we only experienced it for a few years. Like,
right.
I don't
You
know,
don't
but
want to talk bad on. You don't want to talk too bad on it, but at the same time, I mean, if all you have is negative feelings about it, there's a reason for that.
right,
And I know a lot of people that went there that liked it, loved it. I know a lot of people that didn't. I have a mixed reaction about it. I've met some of the best friends I've ever had in my life there, so I can't really be that negative about it.
for sure,
But especially at the time, with all the stuff that went down, the stuff I heard about, and the stuff I knew, it was just a strange dynamic because you're paying all this money to go to a school to get an education. It's a Christian school. You signed up for it, but they have all these rules. The rules don't apply to some people. They apply to other people. It's just like anything else. It's political. It's just weird. You know what I mean? And you kind of the people that went there, a lot of them were weird, and it's just I don't know. I felt like a lot of times a lot of people were just living out their high school dream there
for
because they
sure,
didn't get a good high school experience. I guess.
for
Strange
sure.
place, man. Strange place. Anyway, I don't want to keep rambling.
No, you're good. Murph's next thing here, and he's just bringing up some quick little stories here.
Jeez,
Uh,
Murphy, you writing a book? Jeez.
he was saying he remembers you jumping in the bushes in
Yeah.
Hoboken after dancing with some
hmm
girl.
hmm You weren't there for that.
No.
It's too bad. We had a great time there. I mean, he told the story, so I don't want to repeat it. But yeah, I was 21 at that point, I guess, because we went to the bar, and it was the first time I ever danced with a chick at a bar, and we danced, and I was drunk, and I was very excited about it. So the first thing I did was I jumped in the pool when I got outside. That's all that was. And then we almost got killed.
And that was the infamous trip that I bailed on you guys in Philly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I still don't know for sure. I mean, what happened with that, to be honest with you. I
Yeah.
think Murph's right. I think we didn't commit to it, and you were busy. I think I don't know, man. I don't know what you were doing. I think you were trying to hang out with a chick or something.
Who knows? All right, and then the last thing he says, and this is one of, if not my favorite Alex Anderson stories, it's definitely one of my favorite Alex Anderson stories, and it's from the spring break Buffalo trip. I'll go into it a little bit more and give some background. So we're hanging out this whole time at Buffalo, and we drink it a few nights and stuff. And I think it was Sunday. I think it was a Sunday morning. I don't know why I remember it was Sunday, but I think it was a Sunday morning. And we wake up, and I think
We didn't
Tom's
go to
mom,
church.
no. Well, you had to be, you weren't there at first in the morning because you had to be picked up.
Yeah, okay.
That's a
I know where
different,
this is going.
so that's a different story. But anyway, so I think Tom's mom was making breakfast, and
Yep.
I don't know
What a nice
why.
family, by the way.
Oh yeah, I don't know why, but we put on HBO, and there's a George Carlin special going on at the time, and so George Carlin's doing this whole bit about, like, don't you ever, like, some people who are just like talking too much, don't you ever just want to, like, stop them right in the middle of their sentence and tell them, blow it out your ass, And so he obviously does it way better than I do it.
Right.
We're cracking up about it. So Tom's mom starts talking a lot, and we, like, all kind of collectively looked directly at Alex because we knew Alex was the only one that had the balls to do it. We're like, Alex, do it. Alex, do it. Sure as shit, as she's talking, he just cuts her off and says, blow it out your ass. And it was, dude, I don't know if I've laughed so hard. Like, it was, and she took it like a champ too. She thought it was
absolutely.
hilarious.
She dude, comedy is all about timing and the stuff that pops in your head, when to do it, how to do it, facial expression, how to say it. It's just, I just had to do it. I mean, there's no other. I mean, imagine the stuff that comes in my head that I can't say. My gosh. Yeah, what a fun trip that was. Yeah, took a little detour the night before.
Mighty Taco.
Yeah, stopped at Mighty Taco, grabbed a bite. Oh man, poor Zach. Zach's Tom's brother. I remember standing out there, and he like came up. You don't have to do this, dude. You don't gotta go. I'm like, I'm on my own path now, man. I left.
That's amazing. Yep. All right, so
God bless the Rizzos, man. Great family.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. I love that family for sure.
Yep.
All right, so next set of questions here come from your brother, Phil.
Oh jeez.
He says, let's see where to begin. Earliest memory of me. So of Phil. What's your earliest memory of Phil?
I just remember thinking, who the hell is this kid in my room? Yeah, we shared a room for years. I don't remember. Man. Honestly, he's just always around. He was 3 years older than me, so he was just always around. I don't know.
Yeah. It would be tough. Like, I mean, I can't, like, I've got an older sister who's 4 years older. I can't tell you what my first memory of her is.
No idea. He was just always there, always the center of attention. He's a crazy one. He's high energy. I'll give you that.
Yeah. His next question, you kind of touched on it a little bit, is why did you come to Valley Forge?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to get out. I was chasing a degree. I was 18. I mean, obviously everyone, well, not you, but a lot of people are 18 when they decide to go to college. It just was like the only place I could go. And I think I started out as a pastoral ministry major, I think. I was really serious about it. I mean, I wasn't super serious about it. I mean, I didn't grow up in a sheltered environment. We went to church. We came from a small church. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I just wanted to get out, and that was it. That was like the only option for me, was to do that.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. All right, and then he wants to know the best. Is it Under the Light? He put UTL. Is that Under the Light? That was the drama group or whatever?
Yes.
The best Under the Light skit or sketch?
Best Under the Light sketch. So for anybody who doesn't know, we weren't all degenerates. We did actually have a ministry team. That was started by Phil, Todd Lowens, Jeremy Sexton, guys I've mentioned. Andrew Rodriguez is a guy who was also in the group, Ryan Kroll. And that was their thing. They started that. And that was actually when I met Phil's friends for the first time. They came to our church. I don't think it was sanctioned by Valley Forge. Phil could probably tell you more about that. I don't know if they ever gave them any money or anything like that. It was just a side thing. So Under the Light, I was involved with it my first year. So obviously I started going there. Obviously it was a shoe-in because I'm so talented. No, just kidding. So yeah, we would go. Well, they would go. We would go to different churches. We went to Erie, Pennsylvania. Went to Ohio. Some churches and other churches in Pennsylvania. I know before I got there, they went to summer camps. So yeah, it was like a drama group. I believe they, it was like an event. You'd go, you'd meet the young kids. You'd have sketches, some funny, some dramatic. So if he's asking for the best sketch they did was actually a really heavy sketch. It was a Jesus sketch, where they dimmed the lights down, and they had a screen. I want to say like a screen. So when you shine the light on it, you can see the shadows behind the screen, but not the
Sure.
actual. And so what it was in the back of the screen, Jesus was getting beaten up, and the people on the stage, I think it was called chains or something. They were holding chains. Basically, the whole point of it was like these people had sinned and they're laying it down, and Jesus is taking the pain of it. So he was like getting beat up, like literally getting beat up. I had to stand in for Phil doing it one time because he was sick or something, or he didn't want to do it because like they actually did beat you up. They punched you, and then they drove the nails in pretty heavy. And that was like the ending of the sketch. Everyone dropped the chains down and put their sins on Jesus. I would say that's the best. But I mean, the funniest one though, I know he asked for one, but I'd say the funniest sketch I ever was a part of was a skit called "Be Like Jesus," and it was a really funny sketch. Me, Andrew Rodriguez, and Jeremy Sexton, and Phil, we always used to have this thing where like, we got three guys. That's how like we were trying to brainstorm. You ever be like in a group, or whatever, you're trying to brainstorm. All right, we got three guys. What do we do? And we set up this sketch where Jeremy's a youth pastor. Me and Andrew, are a little nuts, and we start pretending to be like Jesus. So we're trying to perform miracles in front of him. We got the whole garb on. We did it all one night, and that was the funniest one. And that's something that I wish we should have on film somewhere because it was one of the funniest things I've ever done. So I know I said two, but
no, that's fine. Hey, it's your podcast. You're allowed to say
that's
however
right.
many you want.
Right. So there was this other sketch. No,
So this is his last question. It's another Under the Light question. And he wants to know, it's a two-parter: best female actress and best male actor.
Female actress of the group?
Yeah.
Oh man. Take a drink for this one.
Putting you on the spot here.
The best male actor? I mean, Phil was pretty good. I don't. That's such a weird question. Jeez, Phil. Best female actress was. Well, I thought Tashara Koss was pretty good. I don't know if anybody knows her. She was my age. She came in with me. She was really good. Tashara Koss, and then the best male actor. Man, I mean, Jeremy was pretty good too. It's a tie between Jeremy and Phil. Oh, you know what? No, screw that. The best actor by far was Andrew Rodriguez. By far. I don't think anybody on the podcast knows him. I've dropped his name a couple times, but hilarious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the name kind of sounds a little familiar, but it's probably just from hearing you guys tell stories. He's around here.
He lives around here. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's a counselor or something.
Okay.
But yeah, he's phenomenal. Nice. He was in the Campus Police video, if anybody's seen it. He's the radio guy.
Oh, okay. All right, next one is, and this is a quick one, from John Simmons. He wants to know if you remember, is 2 for 1.
2 for 1, baby? Yeah, of course I do. John Simmons, he loved that. Love John, young guy. That was from Boondock Saints, I think, right?
Okay.
Remember Boondock Saints?
Yep.
Remember William Dafoe's character at the end of the movie dresses up in drag to infiltrate?
Yep.
And then he shoots the one guy, and then the other guy comes in, 2-for-1 baby. He's like holding his crotch.
Okay.
Then he gets shot. I don't know if John never saw that movie before. It might have been his first time watching it, but he died laughing. And so I just used to say it to him all the time. Yeah, so of course I remember that.
Nice.
John Simmons. Good man. Is he married now?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. So next set of questions here come from Buddha. So his first question is first impression and feeling towards 24 Down before moving and after moving onto the floor.
Oh, wow. This could be a long answer. Before, so I knew a few of the guys. Like I didn't know everybody. Like I knew Tom, and then Andrew came shortly after that. I don't know if Andrew came the same time Tom did.
I think so.
And they became like a package deal. They became really tight. I remember seeing them around. Francis, Eugene. Man, I didn't think 24 Down was like a thing until my second year. And then I knew quite a few of the guys. I didn't know all the guys. I didn't have any strong feelings one way or another. I mean, this is going to get into another situation. I didn't, a lot of this will be talked about at a different time, but I didn't, I thought it was an interesting thing. There's a lot of people I didn't like on campus. 24 Down was definitely not one of them. The people I didn't really like were like people from 4 Up or 4, whatever. Remember that building 4? I didn't like anybody from there. A couple of people in Bond Journal. People that I just didn't really like people that felt like they were better than everybody else.
Sure.
Got that vibe a lot from a lot of people there. And 24 wasn't part of it. I thought you guys were just stupid. I mean, just like goofy, just like, wild, not stupid in a bad way. Just, it seemed like you had a good thing going. It started to annoy a lot of people in general. But I mean, it wasn't like a crazy, terrible thing. Like where it was like, oh, these guys are just nuts. They're just crazy. And like all the stories you guys are talking about, making all this noise and doing all this bad stuff. Never heard about any of that. I wouldn't have judged it anyway. I don't care. But yeah, just a crazy group of guys having fun, and just was sometimes as a group collectively just got a little annoying.
And I've said it before, like rightfully so. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I bleed 24 Down as much as anybody, right?
Yeah, no shit. You got a shirt on.
But like, to be completely fair, like there were times where we were
Right.
There was every right for people to dislike us because not that we were doing anything wrong, but we just had this. We were loud.
You're having a good time at a shitty place.
Right.
Right.
And I think we were so close, and it was rare, like because you didn't see that anywhere else. So I don't know.
You really didn't.
I don't know if there was like, not for everybody, but there might have been like some jealousy involved in the hatred that we received from other people. There might have just been like, these guys are annoying. Like, and again, like I can't say that we weren't, because we definitely were at times.
Right. And for a small campus, I didn't really run into you guys that much. I mean, as a collective group, I mean, it was just sort of the whole waving the flag thing around and like yelling and doing all these chants. I was just like, what the heck? Like, all right, guys. But I mean, I didn't hate anybody in particular. I didn't have any beef with anybody on the floor. I didn't know a lot of the guys. I never knew Buddha or anything like that. I mean, if you think about it, if I would have went to 24 Down instead of 24 Up, I probably would have been part of the group.
Right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? No, I don't doubt that for a second, because of how well you acclimated when you did come out.
Oh yeah, and he also asked about afterwards when I moved on. Yeah, so I mean, that whole thing was kind of. I also thought it was kind of subdued at that point. It wasn't as the craziness that I remember seeing from the outside when I got there. Because was Buddha even there when I came back? Was he? I don't even know if he was there all the time.
I don't remember if he was there at that point or not.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna to follow up with this, I'm going to ask he's got a few other questions, but I'm going to ask my other question that I wanted to ask, because I think this is a good time to ask it. Do you think that that Valley Forge put you on 24 intentionally?
I have no idea, dude. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, Peter Englert was kind of Peter was kind of the guy at that point. He's the one that told me. And what he told me, part of me was like, ugh, because I was trying to get removed from all that. It was a bad situation, not just the flag thing. Getting kicked out was a bad situation all the way around. So I was trying to move past it. I didn't think about it anymore. I was just like, man, I just want to just I wanted to get my degree, keep my head down and just, but I mean, it ended up being a good thing. I mean, I remember meeting Murph. Murph, he was wearing that beanie for the first week. He never took it off. I remember that awkward first meeting sitting in 110 when Murph, and we're just kind of sitting there feeling each other out. And I'm like, listen, man, like, I don't know how this is going to go. A lot of these guys probably don't like me. He's like, oh, okay, great. You know what I mean? But it was cool, man. I mean, afterwards, like once you get past all the bullshit and whatever, and realize that everyone is who they are and people are good people. Matthias, my brother, I love him to death, was the first person to come up, sort of welcome me in and talk to me. And then shortly after, you just have to hang around. And eventually, Murph told me you like wrestling. So you were playing Guitar Hero one time. And I kind of came in, hey man, what do you think about HBK? I don't know. Who knows what we were talking about?
Probably.
But afterwards, it was great. It was fine. It was, but at that point though, it wasn't really like a crazy big crazy thing at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you guys did, we did things, but like the whole 24 down thing was kind of more subdued at that point. But I had a great time there, man. I mean, the second run, I guarantee you, I had more fun the second time through with all you guys than I did the first 2 years, for sure. It was a good time.
Well, so you brought up, and we can move on here pretty quickly and go back to Buddha's questions, but you brought up the how it didn't really feel like you weren't too worried about it because it didn't feel like it was like fresh, I guess. It wasn't like we all still like, but I will tell you,
it was months later. It was months later.
Right. But I will tell you, like, I mean, I think I've shared this story with you before. I was driving back for that semester, and Mikey calls me. I'm like maybe 2 hours away from campus. Mikey calls me. He's like, you're never going to guess who they put on our floor. And I'm like, who? Like, who in the world would they put on our floor? He's like, Alex Anderson. And I literally,
you knew my name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We knew your name for sure, and I literally felt like, I mean, I slammed on the gas and I'm just like flying down the Pennsylvania Turnpike because I just want to get to campus and like give you like the death stares and stuff like that. And I did, honestly, I really did for the first little while. And yeah. I think like having Murph as your roommate was the absolute best possible thing that could have happened, because we all knew Murph prior to him coming, because he came and visited a few times. So we already had like a really cool relationship with Murph. And then we have Murph going to bat for you. Like if we didn't know Murph, we'd just be like, oh, this is this random kid that's rooming with this guy that we hate that burned our flag. Like,
yeah,
as stupid as it sounds. That's a good point.
But hey, man, listen, I'm a nice guy, and you know what? I just eventually I'll find a way to get people to at that. I mean, I was actually cool with it, like deep down inside. I really was. I was like, all right, maybe I'll become friends with these guys now.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't hate you guys. Like it wasn't like we'll get into that later, but it wasn't personal for me.
Yeah, and I think
it's like as far as all that stuff, but like it was a lot of fun, man, and we had like a nice little crew. I mean, like you said, like all the stories that they were talking about. John Simmons, the Dan Hand era, doing all that stuff on the weekend, playing dodgeball. We had a nice little crew. Mikey, he's one of the twins, right?
Yeah.
Those crazy guys, crazy little fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. After, once you get to know people,
and that's the thing.
A lot of times it ends up being all right.
And that's the thing too, is like it just blows my mind knowing, like thinking about like we were not okay. First of all, let me just say this: we were not in the right mindset to be as pissed off as we were with you guys. We were, but we weren't in the right mindset, right? But then to like
Right.
fast forward a few months later, a year later, whatever it is, and like you are part of 24 Down, and like not just a small part, like
Somewhat.
literally
Somewhat.
and no, everybody that was there when you came back for that second stint, like
Yeah.
became so close with you. And I mean, it's proof enough when you see how many questions that you
Yeah.
have tonight. Like, so it's a really cool.
We had a great time, man. We had a great that's like I guess I'll say it, that second run, man. I mean, it was so much fun.
For
Murph
sure.
and everybody. We could
Yeah.
do a whole podcast just trading stories about just that whole thing. So
Yeah,
keep it going.
absolutely.
How long have we go? An hour already? Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going.
Well, before we get back into Buddha's other questions here, since we kind of just scratched the surface on it a little bit, I will announce, I think I announced it already, but for those of you listening, we are recording the flag burning episode part 1
Yeah.
very soon. So get ready for that. All right, so back to Buddha's questions here. So, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, so you don't have to say too much, but he just wanted to know what you were feeling when you found out you were moving onto the floor when coming back to Valley Forge.
It was weird. It was like, deep down, I kind of liked it, to be honest with you, because I just knew that like eventually it would all be good. I don't know, but it was like I remember when Peter told me, "You'll never guess," and Murphy's gonna love this because I'm doing a Peter impression. You'll never guess where you're going. 24 down. I'm like, okay. I mean, cool, man. Because and it was weird. It was weird. I don't like when people don't like me. I mean, if people don't like me and I don't like them, fine. I don't give a shit. But like if people don't like me for in general reasons, when it's like, dude, you don't even know me. If you know me, you're gonna like me. Don't worry about it. So it was weird, but in the bottom of my mind, jeez, the back of my mind, I felt like it was gonna be all right. I felt pretty good, and eventually it turned out well for everybody. So
nice. Well, Buddha's last question here is he says we didn't get to hang like some of the other guys.
No, we didn't.
But what was your first impression of me?
Buddha. I never hung out with. I don't think I hung out with Buddha at all. Maybe didn't we wrestle though with him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The Bentley Federation came in.
Yes, right. So he was there. Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
man. Sorry about that. First impression of Buddha. The first time I met him. Well, this is part of the flag story, though. Want to save this for next week or just tell it now?
It's up to you.
So after all that stuff went down, I mean, I felt bad. I felt terrible. I didn't want anybody to get mad or anything like that. So I went, and for some reason, I thought Nate Canfin was like the leader of the group. And so I reached out to him on Facebook or something. Hey, man, I just want to come apologize in person. Yada yada yada. And I think I was the only one that did. And I came. So the first time I ever saw or met Buddha, well, I probably saw him before that, but he was sitting down. He must have been Nate's roommate or something. I don't know. And he was sitting down. And I go to Nate's room, and Nate's like, could you give us a minute? And Buddha just looks at him, gets all mad, and just walks out. So my first impression with him was like, geez, all right. This guy's pretty pissed. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really, I never had any interaction with Buddha other than like that. And then what happened after, like when I came back. I've heard him a lot on the podcast. Seems like a thoughtful guy. He's doing pastoral stuff and seems like a cool guy. In a parallel universe, we probably would have been great friends.
For sure. I don't doubt that at all, to be honest. What I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But that was my first impression. He was mad.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All right, so next set of questions here's from your other brother, Matthias.
Punta por ahí.
So he says, first of all, he says he's looking forward to hearing your post-college stories.
Post-college?
Yeah, just like your catch-up earlier. He says, if you haven't already, tell these peasants about the time King Wally came to Valley Forge.
All right. So Walford Anderson Jr., comes to campus with my sister visiting. Now, keep in mind, he never paid for my school or anything like that. It was all my mom and stepdad. But he comes and he's the first thing he says to me. So this is a name that's going to get brought up. Brian Coles. Everyone knows who that is. Brian Coles was an RD.
Yes, not to be confused with your friend Brian Kroll.
No, Brian Coles.
Brian Coles, the RD. Yes.
All right. Now, again, I hope he's doing well. I know he's got a family. At the time, I thought he was a piece of shit. It is what it is. So he was the guy that, was the RD for me when they kicked me out, and he had his, interrogation tactics and all that stuff. I think Talesha kind of alluded to it when he was on, how they would do stuff. And so he was kind of not a guy I liked, a guy that I told my dad about. So my dad shows up. We're just going to hang out. We're going to hang out and go to lunch. And the first thing he says to me, "Where's Brian Coles at? Where's Brian Coles at?" I'm like, "I don't know. I mean, he's probably around here. So I don't even know if he's still here at the school. Like, I don't know. I actually didn't know if he was still there. Where's he at? I'm going to go talk to him. Where's Don Myers? Where's Don Myers at?" My dad is all worked up. He's like, "I'm going to go talk to these guys." And so, usually when you bring your parents around, you show them around the campus. I was following him around. He's walking around like he's going to go tell these people off. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I don't know where they are. Where's Don Meyer? So we go to the administration building. He's like, "Where's Don Meyer at?" And he goes to the secretary and she's like, "Oh, he's not in right now." All right. Walks up to the stairs and then leaves. And then we go to lunch. I think Matthias met us for lunch. First of all, he didn't even pay. He just walked right in. Because if you were there, you had to like pay whatever.
Yeah.
All right, watch this. He just walks in, gets a free lunch. And one of the things he says, "There's a lot of good-looking girls here, man." He's like, "Look at that girl. That girl's pretty good looking. Why don't you find yourself a good wife?" Whatever. I'm like, all right. So we have lunch, and then we're walking out. He's like, I gotta find this Brian Coles guy. I'll find him. I'll get the information out of him. I'll waterboard his ass. He's gonna waterboard the RD of the school to get information. That was it. And he left. And
awesome.
As quickly as he came, he went.
Again, I said it a little bit earlier, but like, I love your dad. Your dad is like one of the, like, you have to meet Wally to like truly, you can hear all the stories you want, but until you meet him, until you like experience Wally.
He works at Sunoco. He works at a gas station. He works 70 hours a week. Well, maybe a little less now. He just works, and he's the King Schneeler, as we like to say. He is something.
So Matthias' next thing, he says, "Name one thing that you would redo at Valley Forge if you had the chance, besides go to a different college."
Redo? I probably would have ducked out of pastoral ministry before I did. One of the reasons, like, I got so burnt out with the theology and all the Christian courses pretty quickly. So I probably would have. I think I was undeclared at first, then I went to pastoral. I mean, I used to give sermons when I was a teenager. I used to do all that stuff. And I was like giving that a chance, but I was just like, you know what? This is just not. I don't want to blame the school, but it's like, well, you just get burnt out. Chapel 5 days a week. You kind of see behind the curtain. You kind of notice something. You're just like, this is just not me. So if I had to redo one thing, I would have started out business. That way I could have had more business classes early on and could have transferred credits after I left.
Sure.
But you can't transfer half that shit. I mean,
Yeah.
What degree needs an Old Testament class? Brubaker, Broobs. I couldn't get through the Brubaker podcast. I'm going to try again. I mean, he's a nice guy. I did like Brubaker, but geez, whew. I mean, that Old Testament class. Man, you remember that class? Everyone took it, right? Oh,
I remember. Like it? To be like fully like transparent, I liked it, but not because of the class itself. I took it my first semester. There was a girl there at the time that I was like really, really into, and she had the same class. So like, I liked it. I liked it because I got to hang out with her like during.
Those were the days, wasn't it? When it's like you get excited because like a cute girl's in your class.
Right.
But he used to read from his blue book and he used to do all this. I just couldn't do it, man. Mine was like 8 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
Oh, nice guy. I'd rather wander the desert for 40 years in Israel than, take that class again.
That's
Can't do
fair.
it. What were we talking about? I forgot.
Oh, it was just Matthias's question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, the last thing Matthias just wanted to say that he loves you. So,
Love you too, man.
all right. So next
Bro.
set, next set
Dragon.
here, Dragon is champion. Next set here is from Wolfie. His first question is, why are you so funny?
I don't know.
All right.
Probably growing up in Massachusetts, growing up poor, growing up with weird parents. I mean, I pretty much will do it.
All right, that's fair. So
Wolfie,
here's,
do people still call him Wolfie, or do they call him Carl now since he's older?
that's a great question. I mean, I know we all call him Wolfie, but I wonder, like, in his like life outside of the 24 down realm, do people call him? I mean,
I don't think his boss at work is calling him Wolfie.
no, especially. I mean, he's a manager at a bank, so I doubt they're like, hey, Wolfie.
I have a question. So, did he ever live in 24 down? Or was he just there?
Yeah, he was like, at first he didn't live in 24 down, but he was like part of us or whatever, kind of like a Matt Baldwin type of a thing. But then, like, he moved.
Okay.
He moved in. Remember the one apartment in 24 down at the end of the hall, across from 117. Yep. He lived in there with, like, it was him, D-Shat, Chocolate, Tom Harshberger.
Okay. D-Shat. Yeah. D-Shat, another great guy. D-Shat. Yep.
So
Carl Wolfie. Why is he so funny? He was a funny guy.
He is a funny guy, yeah, for sure. All right, his next one is, if you could, and this is his question that he asks everybody, if you could have any space at Valley Forge besides 24 down named after you, what would you choose and why?
Yeah, I have heard him ask this question. I did think about it. Probably the field where we burn the flag.
I like it. Whatever. I like it.
Anderson Field. No, I don't know. What did Murph say? Murph cracked me up because he picked like a very specific location. What did he say? Mason Chapel or something?
Yes, Mason Chapel.
I just always liked the Mason Chapel. Like, what? Okay. All right, Murph.
Nobody said the crematorium yet. You remember the crematorium in the back of
campus? Yeah, did you ever go in there?
No, I went, like, I went in a lot of places that you were not allowed to go to. Like, I went in the tunnels. I went in the.
I never went to the tunnels. Nobody ever took me there. Damn it.
Well, next time we're in Phoenixville area, we'll just go.
Do you still have your old school ID we can use?
Actually, I do.
This doesn't look like you. This doesn't look like you. You're about 30 pounds lighter here, bro. Well, that's me.
You want to know a real quick? This is just a complete side story. Quick story about my college ID, because I do still have it somewhere. Up until about, I want to say maybe
for a while.
I want to say maybe about 2 or 3 years ago is when I stopped doing it. I moved back home to Michigan 8 years ago now. So for the first for the first 6 years that I was here, the Red Wings did this thing. It was called Student Rush, where any tickets, any single seats that they didn't sell, if you were a student and had a student ID, you could buy for like $15 or $25. And sometimes, like, the tickets were great seats because they were just single seats. And I don't care. Like, I go to hockey games by myself all the time. I actually prefer going by myself. So here I am with my, like, at this point, like 10, 12-year-old Valley Forge ID that I look nothing like on the ID, going up to the box office, showing it to them and getting a cheap ass Red Wings ticket. So
nice.
It paid off to keep that thing.
Well, it's glad the school ID worked out for something. Didn't really give you shit else.
All right. His last question here, and again, is one that's kind of come up a little bit, but he said, how and why did you and your brother decide to go to Valley Forge? You've kind of touched on why you decided.
Yeah.
Do you know why Phil decided to go?
It was kind of the same deal. My parents were, obviously my mom and stepdad were very much into church or whatever. So they wanted him to go to a Christian school. We were Assemblies of God. There's only 2 Assemblies of God schools, or at least I think there are. There's one in Providence that's small, and one in Pennsylvania, which Valley Forge. So I think the appeal of going to yeah, obviously, the appeal of going to Pennsylvania was it for him. For me, I mean, like I said, I just wanted to get out. I wanted to get out. I wanted to try and get a degree. Um, and I felt like, I've dealt with church people my whole life. I can deal with them now, even though at the time I was kind of like, I mean, I did do pastoral ministry, but I was already drifting astray from it, at a young age, and I got jaded and of course, eventually, you know,
Yeah.
became persona non grata eventually.
All right. So the next set of questions come from Colleen. Did you know Colleen? Because I feel like she might have left before you came back. I
Never
can't.
hung out with Colleen. I know of her. She seems like a sweet girl. She's on the chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just couldn't remember like the timing if you guys were ever there
No, I
together.
never really had any interaction with her.
All right. So she wants to know what your best and worst memory of 24 Down.
Best memory?
Burning the flag. Okay, we get it.
The greatest night of my life. No, just kidding. Best memory. Wow. There's I sound like Murph now. There's just so many. Let me check my notes. It was awesome, Uh, oh man, but I don't have like one particular thing. I would just say the weekends. I mean, that night we messed with security was pretty fun.
There was a few nights we did it, but there was the
There
first.
was one night when we decided, you know what, we're gonna fuck with these guys and we're just gonna do it until they can't handle it anymore. And poor guy, throwing crab apples at him. The bench.
Let me
Remember he sicked the LARPing guy on us.
Yeah.
And hissed at us?
Yeah, and like so Gene and I were behind the cafeteria and we thought we were like safe for a minute. So we're taking a breath
Right.
and all of a sudden we just hear this hiss and we take off running. And that's when I wiped out and like cut my knee all up and everything like that. But I'm gonna do
that was a good night.
I'm gonna do an Alex Anderson quote from that night, if you don't mind. Where he's sitting there and like, so we went to dinner that night and I think we kind of knew that we were gonna do this, like at somehow mess with security. So we grabbed a bunch of fruit. And so we go
right. Okay.
and we're standing kind of in the, what was that called? Like that little grassy area between the security building, like when you first drive into campus.
Oh gosh, like the front field, they had a name for that too.
Yeah, I think I know they had it. Anyway, so we're standing in there and we just start throwing fruit at the window and waiting, like hoping, and it takes a while. Finally, like this campus security guard, like, was probably like, what the hell is like getting thrown out the window? And he like lifts the window and sticks his head out. And I don't know where Alex just goes, "Come out and play, you fat bastard." And I will like I just lost it at that point. Oh man.
Jeez. Oh, my reputation is just really great at this point. I do remember yelling that to him now. Oh man. Like he was pissed. What's funny about that is like that all happened and then like it was like 2 a.m. and like, all right, we're done. We messed with these people. It was this poor guy enough. And he comes up and like Eugene's like kicking a soccer ball around or something. And I'm standing there literally like 10 minutes later. And he comes up and I'm like, what's going on, man? You all right? He's like, they're pranking me. They're pranking me all night, calling me and doing all that stuff. I'm like, oh man. We're like the only people outside. Like, you didn't realize it was us, like literally the only people awake.
And probably like some of the only people on campus. Cause like we said, like
literally probably the only people there. Cause like I said, the weekends, she said best and worst. I think that's the answer is like the same because the weekends there, man, oof. Oh man, everybody went home and I'm just like, geez, like this is so depressing. You know what I mean? That's kind of where like the bond starts, where like you're in the trenches, you're kind of just like, well, we got nothing to do. What are we gonna do? Well, we're degenerates, let's mess with security. You know? But I had the worst memory of 24 Down. I mean, probably having to go to apologize to Nate. I mean, that wasn't fun.
I mean, and I want to give you like, and we'll talk about this more in the flag episode, but like honestly, like that deserves a shitload of credit right there, because most people would be like, you know what, fuck that, I'm not going to apologize.
Right.
You
I
know?
mean, I had some of that in my mind, but I'm like, listen, man, I'm like, dude, I just wanted to I just wanted to smooth it over. It just got blown into this big thing, and that's just how I am. And I chose Nate to talk to. I should have chose you. I should have messaged you. Hey, man,
All right.
heard you like HBK. You want to talk? You're probably like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Oh man, there's definitely like what the flag episode is going to be great for sure, because there's
Especially with Phil on it.
stories.
Because like I said, like I don't remember a lot of stuff, and like I could tell you my mindset at the time and what we were doing, but I mean, like there's a lot of blanks there that need to be filled in. You know what I mean?
I can't wait to like just relive it all, knowing now, like knowing you guys and being so close
Right.
with you guys, like relive the whole thing in a different way.
Yeah.
I really want the 24 Down family to hear your guys' side of the story, because like
Yeah.
I know it now,
Absolutely.
and it completely changed my perspective of the whole thing.
Right. Well, I mean, it wasn't a personal. It was a personal thing with one person, you know, who kind of brought it up, and then I took it to Phil Todd. Obviously, we have a knack for being smart asses,
Yeah.
being obviously campus police. We like to mess with people, and then once we got it, it was it just kind of I remember when we were editing the video, we were laughing. We were like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be funny. And it just snowballs from there. And then next thing you know, it just turns out to what it was.
And
Just
and in
like,
the grand
know,
grand scheme of things, and again, I don't want to spend too much time on it because we're going to talk
right.
about it here pretty soon, but in the grand scheme of things, like I like to try and think of it this way, like yes, like we were so pissed off and everything like that, but like we're thinking from only our perspective.
Right.
If you would have like flipped the tables, like when we messed with campus security, imagine
Yeah.
how campus security felt. Like
Right.
we weren't thinking about that. We were like, this is one of the
Right.
funniest nights ever, and we didn't
Dude, we're
mean
19. I mean, we're 19 years old. I mean,
Yeah.
you're 30, but I mean, we're 19 years old. You're 19 years old, man. I mean, you're on, like, everyone thinks, not everyone, a lot of people thought, and the campus thought that, like, we got these, like, little, like, these kids, like, literally kids. And, like, not all everybody comes from the same background where, like, you're just going to be these good little boys. You're going to mess around. I heard the stories you guys doing stuff and doing all this different type of things. Like,
exactly. And that's
the rush that gives you as a kid.
for
Can
sure.
you imagine going to the most popular floor on campus and sneaking in and stealing their flag?
Well,
can you imagine the rush that like would have given you, like, to do that?
Look at like
the balls it takes to do that.
Look at like any like college in the world, pretty much, that like you've got like, especially a rival college, like you got people that are going to the other campus and like spray painting the statue of this thing, or like
right.
It's just, but at the time, like we just couldn't see the full picture, but
and I'll tell you, and this, I'll just kind of wrap this up here. Like, we never thought it would be a big thing.
Yes.
So that was kind of played into it too. We really didn't think that far ahead. We didn't think about it would piss anybody off. So imagine us sitting there. Like, I remember when we did the video, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be hilarious. I sent it to a friend of mine. So I had these female friends of mine who were like very plugged in, very Christian. And I showed it to her thinking like, oh, this is gonna be great. She's like, oh, good luck with Don Meyer on that one. And I'm like, oh, what? Okay. Like, all right. That was the first time I was like, oh shit. Guess it's not as funny as well, I thought it was gonna be.
It's gonna be a really, really good episode, and I definitely look forward to it. So all right, so back to Colleen's questions here.
Sorry, Colleen, we got off track.
No, I think it's a good thing. If you could change one rule at Valley Forge, what would it be?
I mean, do they still have the rated R movie rule? That's gotta go.
I don't know if they have that still or not.
What a stupid rule. Dude, yeah. So Talasha was on his podcast. He said he fined you all $5. Yes. To go see that movie.
Yes.
Like, I remember we used to watch, I mean, dude, we're adults. 19, 20.
Well,
watch a R-rated movie, watch a fucking movie, dude. Like,
the school wanted him to do much more than that. Like, that was him being like he realized, like, okay,
I'm sure they did, dude.
And that was his way of his way of being like, this is a stupid rule, like, but hey, I have to show that I'm doing something. So we
I
all
do
got
like I do like when someone brought up chapel not being 5 days. I think that's too much. But I mean, the rated R movie rule. I mean, come on, we had to lock the door in the apartment my first semester because we were watching Spinal Tap. We had to lock the door. Like, oh, someone knocks on the door. Oh, who's that? Like, come on, dude. Like 19, 20 years old. We can run. I was watching rated R movies when I was like 8 years old.
right. It is crazy, and like I get it. I mean, it's the whole. I'm not saying really not trying to say anything negative about the Assemblies of God, right?
You
But
can
when
say
you think
anything you want. I don't care. I don't work
no,
for them.
when you think about like the Assemblies of God, like I don't know if it still is, but at one point I remember very vividly with the Assemblies of God, it was bad to like have playing cards, like a deck of cards, because that was
What?
like, oh yeah, because it was like
I never
considered
heard of
like
that one. It's a new one.
considered like an avenue to like gambling and things like that because they use cards in casinos. So it's like that same kind of a thing where it's like I think it's just that older mentality of like,
Right. Right.
you know, and
And they haven't changed. I mean, I was actually in preparation. I was looking at some Valley Forge videos online and like their their promotional videos, and it's like they haven't changed. Let's see.
I've not watched a Valley Forge video in forever, but maybe I'll have to
It's
do
a
that
weird
after
thing.
this.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird place we went to. It's like, yes, it's a Christian school. We got to have rules. I get it. But, there's also got to be some grace and some flexibility somewhere. I never encountered that, so I can only speak for myself. But, at some
Well,
point I was like, all right, you guys are full of shit. Like, this is ridiculous.
you needed to be a basketball player to be shown grace.
Yeah, apparently. I'm not salty about that.
I am. All right,
Yeah,
so
we never went to class. It was like, dude, well, I remember the John Mack, who was the athletic director at the time, had a Duke license plate. I thought that was the stupidest thing. He had a Duke license plate.
that guy,
Like, bro, like you're the director of the athletics and you're promoting another school in your car. Like, come on, dude. So you guys really take this so seriously? You're going to give people scholarships who don't even.
John Mack might be a legend to Murph, so don't say anything too negative here.
Yeah, what's funny? I didn't know Murph played for the team.
You don't remember that?
No, I wasn't there for that.
Okay.
I'm glad he got in that one game. Good for him.
All right, so Colleen's last question here is the one she asks everybody: is when are you getting the 24 down tattoo?
Never. Who says I don't already have it? It's on my lower back. On my lower back. So that way when my wife sees it, she's like, oh, I know what to do.
Got the tramp stamp?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. Where's yours?
On my wrist.
That's right. Does she have it?
Yeah, Colleen was, I think, if I remember correctly, I think Colleen was the first one to get it. Like,
does
before
Murph
I
have
even
it?
it? No, it's me, Colleen, Francis. I think Andrew and Gene have it too.
Murph's a clean slate. Murph is is a good guy, untarnished. If Murph gets the tattoo, I'll get it.
Oh shit! You heard it there, Murph. I will pay for your tattoo. That way, Alex has to get it.
I want to do the sleeve, so I got to hide in. So eventually, now, I mean, I haven't got a tattoo in like 12 years, but if I did want to get a sleeve at one point, I'll just hide it in there somewhere.
So speaking of people with tattoos here, our next set of questions come from Francis.
Okay.
So his first one is, what started your interest in wrestling?
I don't know. I mean, it was just I don't know, just as a kid, you just kind of start watching it. Probably my dad watched it. You watch something young like that, and it's just it all boils down to theatrics. So I have a question. So when did you realize wrestling was scripted? We don't want to say fake. We don't want to piss off the marks out there, but
I want to say
fake, man, it's scripted.
I mean, it was. I want to say I was somewhere between the age of 8 to 12 is my guess.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, probably the same. You just start watching as a kid and you just get into it. And I mean, I was into it from the jump. Like, it was just on TV. We used to watch it on TV. We used to watch Saturday night. Oh, not Saturday night main event. What was the show on Saturdays WWF had? The Saturday show?
The morning one or
was it Superstars?
I think so, yeah.
We used to watch on Saturday as a kid. It was just, I mean,
Well, they had Saturday Night Main Event, which was like a special one.
My
And then
dad used
once
to
a week.
watch it. I used to hide up at the stairs and like as he was watching it and like kind of watch it from the stairs. Just I couldn't tell you why or how. I just took to it like anything.
So we'll do a real quick little radio for two here. So this is like everybody else is gonna be like, I don't care to hear this, but do you remember? This is just I'm personally curious. Do you remember the first match that you saw?
Nope.
Because I remember the first event that I saw there's two matches, and I don't remember which one I saw first, but it was Coco Beware versus Randy Savage, and then it was Big Boss Man versus Akeem. Those were one of those was the first match I saw, and the other one was the second match I ever saw. I'll never forget it, and I was just hooked, like instantly hooked.
My memory's not that good. I don't remember the first match. I do remember the first time I got presents for it was WrestleMania 6 because we got the old WWF ring and wrestlers. We had an Ultimate Warrior themed birthday party. Or something.
Nice.
And me and Phil are 3 days apart, 3 minutes apart, and 3 years apart.
That's so crazy.
And we had a birthday in WrestleMania 6. I think it was 92. I must have been 5. And there's pictures of like we had like an Ultimate Warrior napkins or something. So I remember that. The first match, though, no, I don't remember the first match.
I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say WrestleMania 6 was 1990.
Yeah, I mean, was it really? Jeez,
well, because
I guess I was 3 then.
Because I'm pretty sure, like WrestleMania 1 was 84, I think, and the reason I remember is because
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because I was born in 84. So however old I am, that's what WrestleMania it's on.
Well, it's such a vague memory because I was so young, but I do remember it, so that makes sense. I was like 3.
Yeah.
Crazy. Princess, you still like Goldberg?
Yeah, he loves Goldberg.
Shit.
Goldberg. Goldberg's back now. He's going to be
fighting and I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it, and I just don't. I mean, come on.
All right, so back to 24 down. Everybody's like, Jesus Christ.
Wrestling podcast. Here we go.
This is how our friendship was born, though,
This product sucks.
All right, so Francis' next question is he wants to know what your interests now are.
Interests now with a pandemic? Nothing. I mean, I like to provide for myself and my kids. I have 2 cats. It's my guitar hangs on the wall. I used to play a lot of music. I'm just kind of a working man now. I don't have a lot of interests, I don't particularly like politics too much anymore. I'm kind of done with that. I have a love-hate relationship with politics, but I mean, you get to a certain age and you're kind of just, I don't know if you feel this way, you're kind of just stuck in your ways. That's kind of how I feel now. Just 33. I'm going to be 34 in May. And my interest now is just working, hanging out with my friends, and being a good person.
Fair. All right. So the next set of questions here come from one Thomas Rizzo.
Tom Rizzo, capital T, Tom. What's up, Tom?
So his first one is, who's your favorite character to act as in all your podcast / wrestling appearances, and why?
Okay. Oh man. So
I mean, I'll tell you my favorite after you go.
I mean, I gotta go. See, I want to say Tommy Gunn because he's the only wrestler I have that wins all the time. Probably Todd Dale.
For sure. That's
I love Todd Dale. Todd Dale, just a nerd. It's so fun to play a nerd. It's just such an easy role to play. I don't know. Todd Dale is just, Todd Dale.
Tammy.
Yeah. Todd Dale for sure. It's just comes so naturally. Maybe I'm a nerd. I don't know.
So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you need to check out our wrestling videos on YouTube. The Todd Dale is a prominent character. He's basically like a backstage interview guy who has gotten involved in some different wrestling matches and that sort of thing. So Todd Dale is definitely one of my favorites. The thing with our wrestling videos, and I won't harp on this too long, but the thing with our wrestling videos is we do it for ourselves, but there is a lot of entertainment to it, to where somebody that could care less about wrestling could probably watch it and be pretty entertained, at least for a little while. So,
Well, I mean, this past year was probably the least wrestling we've ever done because we're so out of shape.
right. Well, no, we did 2 shows.
That might have something to do with it.
Um,
Go home. 2 minutes in the match.
All right. So the next question from Tom is they hand you the reins as owner of the Patriots. What are your moves you make? What are the moves you make to make them a powerhouse again?
There's no moves you can make to make them a powerhouse again. I mean, we had the greatest run. Shout out to Buffalo. Good luck. I know Tom and Murph are probably excited about that. Good for them. I don't hate the Buffalo Bills. I mean, and Bill, I trust Bill Belichick. He'll turn it around. If anybody can do it, he can. I would just give Bill the reins and let him do his thing.
So now I'm gonna do a quick little sidebar. And Tom's got
I don't like football.
No, I don't, but Tom's got 2 more questions. But before we get into those, because we brought the Bills up, I gave Murph a chance last week to kind of rant on the Patriots and everything like that. Do you have anything that you want to say to Murph for his rant? And
I would just say good luck to you. I'm not rooting for the Bills, but I don't hate them. And just remember, you guys are the only team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost all of them. So.
I figured you might want to get a shot in. So sure.
Yeah, I always felt bad because Murph had all the Super Bowl logos up on his wall. It's like, bro, you lost those, right? But they're good people. I love Buffalo, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I met good women there. Great place.
Tom's next question is he wants to know who's your favorite Wahlberg?
Wahlberg?
Yeah.
I hate the Wahlbergs. Does he know I hate them?
I'm sure
probably the mom. Probably the mom. I hate Mark Wahlberg. I don't know why he is the fucking spokesperson for New England sports. He shouldn't be. He was on the field for one of the Super Bowls. That pissed me off. Yeah, he's like, how do you get in the field, bro? Like, get out of here. Like, I don't have a favorite Wahlberg. Probably the mom, because he was on that show, like the Wahlburgers. Still haven't gone there, by the way.
So
I have no idea. You've been there?
No, but we have one here in Detroit. I just haven't been.
Really?
Because every time, obviously now COVID times, it's whatever. But pre-COVID, every time I was downtown, it was always just packed. I'm like, well, I'm not going to go in there and wait for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Can't be that good.
Who knows?
Look at their movies. Did Transformers pay for that restaurant?
Maybe.
I don't like Mark Wahlberg or any of them.
There you go.
So there's your answer.
All right. So Rizzo's last thing is, what's one thing from Boston/New England area that every person should try?
Easy. New England clam chowder. You got to go to Captain. You got to go to Captain Parker's in Hyannis, Massachusetts. They sell it in the stores. If anybody wants some, let me know. I can get it and ship it to you. It's the greatest clam chowder you ever have in your life. Award-winning. I actually buy it for some friends who every time I go home, I try and buy some for people.
Is it better than, what is it, Mark Anthony's? Is that the pizza place?
Ooh, Mark Anthony. Ooh, forgot about that.
Yeah, see, that would be my suggestion.
Mark Anthony's, best pizza place around. Yep, that's in Onset, Massachusetts, my hometown. Man, now you got me thinking. I would say clam chowder is better.
Okay, so I
get good pizza anywhere, but you can't get good clam chowder unless you go to New England, man.
But Mark Anthony's, if you go, part of what's so great about it is the atmosphere. You go in there, you see all the pictures hanging up. And
right, that's true. It's good pizza too.
I'm just trying to change your answer for you.
Clam chowder.
All right, we got one last set of questions here. This is from Andrew Kindler. And I already know the answer to this first question. He wants to know Dunkin' or Starbucks.
That's not even are you kidding me? That's really a question. Dunkin' D, man.
Well, now I don't know if maybe he knows this and that's why he asked, but maybe he doesn't. I don't know if people know, but Dunkin' Donuts is a Boston thing, correct?
Yeah,
They're from
it started in New England.
So
actually, it's not Dunkin' Donuts anymore. It's just Dunkin'.
Really?
Yeah, they changed it to Dunkin'. The
Weird.
food sucks now, but the coffee's still great.
So if you've never been to the Boston area, it's literally, I mean, there's a Dunkin' on almost every corner, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
The town I was growing up in, there was one on. They used to be so popular, they literally had one on either side of the street. You didn't even have to turn left to go to one; you just turn right. Literally right across from each other. It's ridiculous.
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Yeah.
his last question here is he wants to know what your go-to was at Wawa.
Back then,
Well, even now, because you're still in the area.
um, roast beef hoagie, American cheese, lettuce, onions, mayo.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
How often do you have Wawa?
Not a lot.
I'm so like that kind of pisses me off because like you're right there. You could have it as much as you want, man. Like
I
you
could
don't
go there right now after we're done if you want.
you don't realize like how good you have it, you know?
I don't think it's that good, man. I'm telling you. It's all
Move
right.
out move out of Pennsylvania for 6 months and then you'll be like,
What do
fuck,
you
I
have in
miss
Detroit? I mean, I remember Detroit being kind of weird. They had some weird places.
Detroit's like huge for I mean, we have all kinds of food places.
Yeah. So what's
But
Detroit known for as far as food? Or
um
oh wait,
Coney Island, like we have like
hot dog.
Detroit conies are very different than a lot of conies. So that's one. Detroit's really known for their like deep dish pizza, like deep dish square pizza. I don't
Okay.
know. It's like you know how there's like New York style. There's legit Detroit style, Chicago
Yeah.
style, Detroit style, whatever. So I would say Detroit style is the best, but I'm partial to
Of course you would. Is Kid Rock joining us soon?
he moved to Nashville. Like he left us.
Oh gosh, good for him.
All right, so that kind of like concludes the questions portion.
Jeez, that was a lot of questions.
I told you, man. I think you had a more question. It might have been the most questions. And again, I think that kind of shows like I know you don't like being like center of attention, kind of whatever,
I
but
don't.
it shows like how influential and important you were to the 24 Down family for your stint there. Like because you think about it, like you weren't there that long.
No,
like
just a semester and a half. Yep.
All these people like have questions, and it just I don't know. I think it's cool, and I really am looking forward to the flag episode.
Yeah,
because I really really want people to hear your guys' side.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. It was an interesting thing that happened. It was weird. Just thinking back on it now. Like wow. I mean, what happened after was pretty awful. Getting kicked out.
Well, I know you wanted to talk. I know you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, because I had a one-on-one with Don Meyer. I mean, how many people can say that?
Right.
And this is kind of where the negativity from my end. Yeah, I got kicked out, whatever. But just the way it happened was so, I don't know, just so weird. So basically, we never got in trouble for the flag thing. They never did anything about it. Basically when all that went down, Brian Coles, again, I hope he's doing well. Hope he's he's got a family, whatever. He was just the biggest piece of shit to me because he would just come up. He just came up and I was like, all right, listen. I went to his office. I'm like, listen, I know this is going around. You guys want to know who did it? I was involved with the flag thing. I just want to let you know, turn myself in. Whatever you guys want to do, I get it. It was just a prank that went a little south. And this is what happened. And then he looks at me. He's like, all right, who else was involved? Who else? Rat on these people. Tell me who else. I'm like, no. I'm like, dude, I'm not here to do that. You know what I mean? It's not my style. I'm not going to tell. Like anyone who was involved is going to come and tell you. Okay. He was just so mad about that. Like, he just played the bad cop, and that's fine. But it was just, whatever. So we didn't get off on the right foot, at that point. So basically, after all that went down, like we never heard anything about it. I heard at one point someone saying they were going to expel us. I heard, that's what they wanted. I heard all this different stuff, but nothing ever happened. Like a few weeks went by, nothing happened. Then we get popped for drinking. So at that point, like I remember there was an intramural game. where you know what I'm talking about.
I remember this very
Yeah,
vividly.
yeah, where everyone knew, and this is before I went on because I remember admitting it on the MySpace page, just like 'cause I remember sitting there and the messages were coming in. MySpace. I mean, we're dating ourselves here. I mean, geez. And the messages are coming in. I'm like, this is out of control. Like, for crying out loud. All right. And I just remember all that stuff going down. And I remember it was a weird thing. Like I said, I showed it to the one girl and she was like, oh, good luck with Don Meyer on that one, all this stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I didn't think it was going to be this crazy thing. And so, like, you walk around campus and half the people hate you. Everyone knows you. Everyone knows who you are now. Everyone knows it's like, oh, you're this guy. I had people that like stopped talking to me after that. I had people that like thought it was the funniest thing in the world. It was just a weird thing. Like half the people hated you, half the people liked you. The we're on the campuses radar at that point because Brian Kroll. I keep saying Brian Kroll. Brian Coles doesn't like me at that point because I'm giving him attitude because I don't like that kind of like I don't like being interrogated and being questioned and all this like his style. Never tried to be my friend. Always tried to be the bad cop, which is fine. I get it. Okay. But like, don't try and force me to turn people in and don't try and tell, basically, do all that shit. So what happens after is like, at that point, it's a very lonely time. I remember thinking to myself, I just want to keep my head down. And we all kind of bonded, Joey Dela Cruz, who was the guy who had the personal beef. Davies wasn't around at that point. He kind of just like disappeared. Um, um, Todd, me, Phil, and like, we're like, all right, let's just go drink. You know what I mean? Like I've drank before. We're all kind of stressed out. We're all just kind of whatever. And we went off campus and we drank. And it is what it is. You're young kids. And we came back, ran into a couple females. I'm not going to name who they were. And allegedly one or both of them told the school that we were drinking. I think it was on a weekend or something. Because I remember on Monday going back and again, there was another kid involved too. I don't remember his name. It was Joey's friend. He was there with us. He caved, I guess, and was like, "Hey, he sent me a weird message on Facebook. Like, listen, they just came and talked to me. I didn't rat you guys out. Just want to let you know. Blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever. Now it's out there. It's like, okay, people told. They know we drank. Now here we go. So I remember sitting out there, and you know who Mark Scenaro is?
Yeah.
Mark Scenaro was actually a good friend of Todd and Phil's when they first started school. But I guess they kind of broke away. He was a school guy. You know what I mean? Like a company guy. You know what I mean? And so he was in on everything, and like he knew me, I knew him. I'm walking, and I'm sitting, and I think this was on a Monday because I'm walking back from class. I'm going between the library to was 24 in front of the building.
In front of what the 24 was in like right next to the.
Oh no, okay. The faculty building was in between 24 and
yes,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. So I'm walking back and I'm going through, and Mark Scenaro is just kind of like sitting there talking to somebody. Then he turns and looks, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Alex, Brian Coles is looking for you." And I'm like, "Okay, here we go." The word's out. We know it's like I know what he's going to ask me. You know what I mean? I'm like, "Here we go." So he goes up to me, and the first thing that I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to admit to anything. Like they can't prove it. They can't prove what I was doing. I was off campus. Now I came back on campus drunk. So in my mindset, like, who in their right mind? And this is kind of how they think and how they try to catch people. They're like, they're going to ask you what you did, and then they're going to give you, like, I think Talesha said, the honorable way out, where you admit it. If you don't admit it, you're in trouble now or whatever. So he comes up to me. He's like, "What were you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "What do you mean I was hanging out?" "Well, you weren't doing anything illegal this weekend?" I'm like, "No." What do you think I was going to say? Just like start crying and be like, "Oh yeah, I was drinking beers. I'm so sorry. I need to go. We need to have an altar call in chapel. I need to go down and apologize." I'm like, "No, man. Like, what are you talking about?" He keeps going and going. And finally he's like, "All right, you weren't doing anything. Are you sure?" I'm like, "All right, listen, I drank a few beers this weekend off campus. And that's what I did. I know it's against the rules. Whatever you want to do, you can do." He's like, "All right, well, we're going to have a meeting about it. We're going to discuss it, and we'll let you know." So at that point, everybody says, "Okay, whatever, we did it." They set up a meeting for Todd, Phil, and myself. First thing in the morning. That should have been a red flag. First thing in the morning with Dr. Mortensen. Everyone knows Dr. Mortensen was the head of, I don't know what he was. He was the
I think head of student life, I think.
student life or whatever, which, like, controlling all that stuff. Okay. So I'm thinking, like, all right, they got us now. There's nothing we can do. We're gonna get suspended. I was like, okay. It is what it is. Like, you gotta admit it. At this point, what are you gonna do? Someone told on you. It's not fair. Whatever. I don't know why people would do that, but okay. I mean, young kids. I don't know why someone would feel the need to turn someone in or like tattle on someone. I don't know. It's just whatever. Anyway, there's no getting around it. You got to do what you got to do at that point. But I was thinking we are going to get suspended, and I'm like thinking with the flag thing, I'm like, there's no way we're getting out of this one. You know what I mean? And I was at peace with it. I'm like, I remember sitting down on the bench outside the library. I mean, it was warm out. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, damn, you got to calm down, dude. Like, you're getting like the spotlight on you now. You know what I mean? Like, you got to like relax. Mark Sannero came and talked to me. The motherfucker knew it the whole time. He had to. He had to. Oh, how you doing, bud? Like, whatever. Trying to be my friend and all that shit. And at the time, I was at peace. I'm like, listen, you're messing up. I'm talking to myself in my head. You're messing up. You got to calm down, and like, you got to go in there and just be like, listen, I'm making mistakes here. Sorry, take the punishment. And at the time, me and Phil were concerned because we didn't know where to go if we got suspended, because we were like, where are we going to go? We don't live around here. We were trying to work something out with Todd because Todd knew we were going to get suspended. So like, yada, yada. And so that's what I thought. At no point in my mind did I ever think, oh, well, they're going to kick us out. No point. Because I heard people get caught for drinking and they got suspended. And I know people that got caught drinking, nothing happened.
Were they basketball players?
Wink, wink. So I'm like, oh, man. So it is what it is. So I remember going in there. We're supposed to have the meeting all together. And we're sitting out there, and it's like first thing in the morning. And then Brian Coles come out, Alex, we're going to talk to you first. I'm like, what? Yeah, we're going to talk to you first. And I remember Todd laughing because he knew it was up. I was like, okay, here we go. You're not going to have the meeting all together. They're going to get us in here and, whatever. So I went in, and it was Brian Coles, Dr. Mortensen. I believe Mark Talesha was there. He wasn't my RD, but he was there. Somebody else might have been there. And they asked me what happened. What did I do? They wanted like a full story or something. So I tell the story. I leave out certain parts because I don't want Phil or Todd to get in trouble. So I was going to take the blame for myself. I'm like, listen, yeah, I was drinking. I didn't see anybody else drinking. I don't know what I said. Just I told the truth, but I kind of like made it seem like they weren't involved, or whatever. Because they were a month away from graduating. People don't remember. Todd and Phil were seniors. They had been part of a ministry team. They had been active members of, like the school in some shape or form. Like, I didn't want them to get in trouble. And then Dr. Mortensen looks at me and he's like, well, we all know that's not true. We all know that this, and this happened. I'm like, all right, well, what do you want me to do then? What do you want me to do? And then he drops the bomb. He's like, well, you know what? I think at this point it's best that, you get expelled from the school, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, at that point, shocked. Like, jaw to the floor. I'm like, what? I can't remember what I was thinking because it was just so heavy. Because regardless of how you feel about what's going on, man, to like get kicked out of school, because like I said, when you're paying all this money and
exactly,
like you're and it's just like what? You're gonna kick me out? Like, really? That's what's gonna happen here? I didn't say anything. And they're like, would you like to request an appeal with the president of the school, Don? I'm like, yes, I would. So I did. I think I was the only one that did. And then they wouldn't let me go out the front. They let me out the back door. You know what I mean? It's just like, and my RA was waiting for me. So they all knew what was going to happen. Never once did they ask me how I was doing, what my mindset was, none of that. It was all just judge, jury, and then you get executed. You get let out the back. And I'm like, okay. I teared up a little bit. I don't cry a lot. I teared up. I'm like, I just remember talking. His name was Chris Oosterman, was my RA at the time, because I was in Barnjano with Phil. And I just remember saying, I can't believe they're fucking kicking me out. I can't believe this. Like, there's got to be, like, this is like ridiculous. So I walked back, and no, I remember before I walked out, Brian Coles tried to shake my hand. I shook his hand, didn't look at him. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. See you. You know what I mean? And that was pretty much how that meeting went down. It was just very strange to me. Because like I said, like, all they do is just go up to you. They're like, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? and then you're out of here. Like, really? There's no probation. There's no like no program to like maybe work this out when you're spending all that money and like there's no way to work this out. We're just gonna give you the boot. I felt, and then like I did the appeal, so now I have to go talk to Don Meyer. Now, have you ever talked to Don Meyer one on one?
No, because he would always ignore me, so I never actually.
Don Meyer. All right. Listen, I mean, a lot of people can say a lot of things about Don Meyer. He's retired now. Fine. I really thought I was going to go in there. I was so shell shocked. I thought I was going to go in there and be like, listen, I got this whole speech prepared. Listen, like this, like you got to let me say it. Like, this is ridiculous. I had the whole speech ready. The minute I walked in, it was like, it seemed like an inconvenience to him, like that I was even there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe his kid's appealing. I got to go. The vibe I got, I'm pretty sure it was me and him. And he had a gigantic office, by the way. I mean, you could have fit like 3 dorms in there. You know what I mean? And so I go in there and this nice majestic desk, and he sits me down at this table, and he gets out a pen and pad, and he's like, "All right, so this is what happened." I don't have a good Don Meyer impression.
It sounds pretty good.
Right, so this is what happened. You're underage. You drank. You let so and so drive your car. Does this person is he on the car? Like, is he on the car to drive the car? No. Okay. You did this. You did that. You did this. And he's like listing all these things. This is like the pretty much the entire meeting. He's like, you did this. Okay. So I mean, why do you think I should let you stay? And I was like, well, I mean, obviously, if you think there's a problem, you think I'm such a bad person, you want to kick me out in the street. You don't know where I'm going. I got to go to Florida tonight. You're going to kick me out? Like, this is the first time I've ever done anything, like my first offense, and you're going to kick me out for drinking? Basically, I mean, that's kind of a nutshell of what I said. And he just listened, and he was like, at this point, I think it's best that we part ways. And he got up, gave me a hug, like a tepid hug, and I walked out, and that was it. That was my appeal to Don Meyer. And see you later, bro. We had to make plans to go to Florida that night. At that point, everybody pretty much knew. I said goodbye to a couple of friends. And it was a crazy day. Not a fun day at all.
So, like, there's so much to unpack from that right there. But I mean, like, from your meeting with Brian and whoever in student life, Mortensen and all those stupid fucks, to your one with Dr. Meyer, like, it sounds like each one of those meetings, like, they had their mind set up.
Exactly.
So it's like, it doesn't matter what you come in, what you say, like, their mind is made.
Right.
And like that kind of shit is like what really pisses me off about. Everybody knows I've got a chip on my shoulder about Valley Forge. It's reasons like that. Like, you're not even gonna take anything into consideration. You've made up your mind that this is happening. Doesn't matter what this person feels, doesn't matter what this person has to say, nothing. We've made up our mind. And they're so like, yep, this is what's happening. But then on the other side of the coin, you've got people that do the exact same fucking thing. And they're going to say, well, this person's beneficial to us because they help our basketball team. And like, we make money off our basketball team. So we're going to look the other way for this one.
Right.
And like, again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it in the flag episode. Like, actually hearing your guys' side of the story completely changed my mind on everything. At the end of the day, whether you guys, and I know you didn't intentionally mean to like harm 24 Down, but even if you did, let's just theoretically say, even if you did, you guys are still students. You guys are still people that are paying a shit ton of money to go to the school. And then they're going to turn their back on you so quickly. Right. Because you have nothing to offer them. Right. And they've got what they could get.
Because they already have the money. You know what I mean? They had the money. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I just couldn't, like, we couldn't have worked this out. Like, they judged us the moment, we walked in there, and what they didn't regard anything about, like I said, they didn't ask about how I was feeling at the time. I was super stressed out. Obviously I was breaking the rules. But like, bro, it's the first time, like, I never, other than paying a couple chapel fines, I'm pretty sure everybody did. Like, like the first time I ever get in trouble, and like you're gonna lump that in with the flag thing, which you never got us for, and like you caught us drinking now because someone told on us, and now you're gonna just like kick us out without even, you know what I mean?
Well, and it's like it's almost like the attitude too, like, oh my God, I can't believe you. How dare you? Like, come on. You want to tell me that Don Meyer, Brian Coles, like you want to tell me that those guys never did anything wrong in their life? They're
Right.
these perfect human beings. Like, go fuck yourself. You guys had
Right.
grace shown to you, I'm sure. So why not share the grace? Like,
Right.
yeah, it'd be different if you went into that meeting and you were like, you know what, yeah, I did this, but I don't care. Like, you can't do shit about it. But you went in honest. You were like, hey,
Right.
I
Somewhat
did do.
honest. I did leave out some details.
But at the end of the day, like you weren't like combative. You weren't like you were just like, yeah, hey, this did happen. I'm ready
Right.
for whatever punishment I need to take on.
Right. Well, the punishment, the punishment of kicking someone out of school, like, geez, you would have thought we shot Don Meyer in the streets.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like crazy. And that's just their philosophy. And like, that's the hard line they want to take, even though it's bullshit because it's not, because they do things on a case by case basis. But the fact to be judged like that and to be branded like a bad person based on like on one thing that happened, and it was just, I just couldn't understand it.
Again, you're kids. Like at the time,
I was 19 years old.
like so everybody's supposed to come to the school and just be perfect for
Right.
the 3-4 years you're there. Like it's not gonna happen.
That's the image they want, and that's what they wanted to portray. But like people aren't, people are flawed. People make mistakes. And what we were doing was not the craziest thing ever to ever recorded history of
No,
a school.
and it was not. It wasn't I guarantee it wasn't even the craziest thing that happened
No.
at Valley Forge that year. It probably wasn't even the craziest thing that happened at Valley Forge that month.
No.
But
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure people branded themselves and got kicked out. Remember that?
well, they didn't get expelled though.
They didn't?
No, because Matt Baldwin was part of that.
Was he really?
They just got a suspension. And again, like Matt tells a story, like him and his dad like tried to like because like just I guess a little backstory on Baldwin, like he like they grew up in this church or whatever, and his dad,
Right.
his family as a whole, I think they were part of the board and everything, and like financially
Okay.
like helped
There
out
you
the
go.
school a lot, and they just so quickly turned on Matt because he branded himself. Like, so what? Like,
Right.
what is that like? Okay, if you want to like talk to people and be like, hey, this is it's you could potentially harm yourself or whatever, but you're gonna suspend somebody for that. And it was
The image they wanted was just like this image, and you see it now in the promotional videos, and it's just they just want this clean cut Christian image, but that's not reality.
But I think at the end of the day, and I might be like crushing some people by saying this, but that's what really turned a lot of people, including myself, away from wanting to be involved in church or like I still believe everything I've always believed in, but like
Right.
it was shit like that like constantly happened. It wasn't like it just happened once or twice, and when it happens to you, like then it's just like a whole new ball game,
Yeah. It was just clear to me that like I never fit in there. I really went back because I wanted to finish my degree, but it was just like I'm just not one of these people. I guess I'm just not what they want. I was a business major. Like they just want a certain thing, and they want a certain image of the school. And if you cross them or try and get, you get branded a certain way. Like their line of thinking is just so archaic and just so. It's you get screwed, and you don't get screwed, but they don't give you any grace, and don't give you any anything. And it was like one of the most shocking things ever happened to me ever was getting kicked out of school. I still can't believe it to this day that actually happened. That's the route they took. They sat down and they were like, "Listen, these guys are bad apples. They need to get out of here. So we're going to kick them out. We're going to take their money and kick them out."
Right. And again, I mean, again, to like just compare stories, you've got, and I don't mean to keep bringing up the basketball players thing, but it's true. You got basketball players that did the same thing. Nothing happened. Right. So that's one side.
Yeah.
Then
Because the basketball program was so fucking important to the school, wasn't it?
Right. Well, then you've got like another side of the thing is like me personally and some other people, we got in trouble for drinking, and guess what? We only got a suspension. And then you guys got in trouble for drinking and you get expelled. Right. So like, why is everybody treated differently? Like make it a blanket thing. If you're gonna kick people out for it, expel people for it, and that's what you're gonna go for, then go for it no matter who it is.
Right.
Don't do these certain scenarios where, well, we'll do this for this person and this for this person, because then I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was a crazy deal, man. And like I said, it's a strange place. It is what it is. We signed up for it, but you never expect to like get the rug pulled out of you like that.
Right.
In a situation where that could have been definitely handled better by the student life organization there and the people there. And you know, like I said at the time, I thought Brian Coles was the biggest piece of shit. Like never tried to be my friend. He just always just wanted to be that bad guy to like lay down the law.
Because he thought he
Whatever.
was fucking Mr. Tough Guy. Didn't he just like,
Yes, he did.
he went
Like
straight
I
from being,
swear to God, man, I went in there and like he had that book. When I went in for the flag thing, dude, that's when it went south really quick because he was just like, "Well, who else was involved? You're not going to tell me?" I'm like, dude, I'm not ratting out my friends. They're all going to come and tell you on their own.
I
Relax.
think, and I could be wrong, but didn't he go straight from being a student to an RD? So
Yeah, something like that. He was around.
he
So
had that mindset of like, I'm just guessing, I'm assuming, and maybe that's wrong
yeah.
with me, but he had that mindset of like, I'm sure he was involved in all the intramural sports when he was a student, and he was known as being like the hot shot, Mr. Valley Forge, whatever. And he goes
No.
right into that leadership position, and then he just takes it too far. No,
Mhm.
I mean, nobody, I don't know anybody that really liked him. And I'm not trying to, again, it's years later. Again,
Yeah.
I'll say what you say.
Right.
Like, I wish the best for him, but like
Right.
he had it out for 24 down. Why? We never did anything to him. Probably because
He wasn't even your RD, right? Wasn't it
no,
Talesha?
no, but in all honesty, it was probably because whatever floors he was in charge of, we beat them in intramural games, or like literally, like that's probably what it was, honestly. But whatever, I don't know. That was honestly
Talesha.
like,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the RD meeting between him and Talesha? My 4-3-2 guys.
Talesha might. I don't know if he still listens to the podcast, and if he does, I don't mean to speak for him, because I could be completely 100% wrong. My impression is that Talesha really didn't like him either, to be
Right.
honest.
It is what it is. Like, he was just that kind of guy, Wish him the best. I hope he's changed his ways, but who knows?
Right.
You know what I mean? Different mindsets for different people.
Yep.
A lot of people that went there, you know, is what it is. I didn't like a lot of people that went there, to be honest with you. A lot of strange people, a lot of fake people. But the people I do like and the people I do love are probably in this chat and probably, we're friends for a reason.
Well, I
And so,
think
Brian, I remember the first. Did I tell you Brian Coles cried the first week he was at school? Did I ever tell you that?
no.
So, like, he tells the story. He's the RD. He's like, well, I remember the first week I was struggling, and I just lay down in bed and I cried for a week. I'm like, you cried for a week? Jeez. Like, how insecure are these people? That was like the first time I thought, like, damn, this is a different kind of school. Like, geesh, man.
Well,
Ugh.
I think 34 episodes in, and that last, I don't know how long that was, 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. I think that might have been some of the most genuine, powerful conversation that's been on
There
the
you go.
podcast.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
So I real quick, I wanted to bring this up real quick before we
Yeah.
kind of close things out here. Is you brought up Mark Scenario.
I did.
So what's the statute of limitations? 7 years? Is that what it is?
For what? For like rape?
No, for like theft.
Isn't it by state?
Sure, but it's probably like no more than 7 years.
We'll just say 7 years. Okay.
All right, whatever. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but can you? Welcome to the back porch. So I stole this sign from the back porch. I don't know if you could see the back if my camera's going to work, but it was donated 2006, a gift to Valley Forge from Mark Scenario II.
Of course, that's such a Mark thing to write. Such a hard up.
You brought him up, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta go grab that sign real quick.
Mark Scenario, like I said, another guy that was just in it to win it. Oof.
Well, let me do my little podcast plugs here, and then after that, I will say a few words, and then I will let you get the last word in. So, really quick, Twitter. If you guys got Twitter and you want to follow us, I basically just post when the new episode is up online. You could look. Our handle is at 24 Down Podcast. If you want to email us you don't want to email us, okay? We got 2 Facebook pages. the 24 Down podcast page, which you can get more information on when different episodes are coming out, whatever. There's a private group on Facebook as well. So if you want to get into that, it's private just to keep the bots out, basically. So if you're not in it and you want to be in it, reach out to somebody in 24 Down. You'll find your way in. And lastly, our store. We got some t-shirts, merch, and everything like that. Storefrontier.com/24 Down. So you can check all that out. Well, I guess my clothing stuff that I want to say is like you, Alex, you're legit one of my best friends, which if you told me that like just got my flag burned that I would ever even say that, I would be like, there's no fucking way. But you are like you're one of my best friends. Absolutely. When you moved back to 20 or moved on to 24, we started hanging out, got really close. After you left and you came back to Pennsylvania, I was done and I was living in Pottstown. We started to reconnect a lot more too, and we hung out a ton for the next
good times, wasn't it?
Yep, next few years. And now, like even nowadays, like I see you at least once, if not twice a year for WrestleFest or whatever. And I am like so thankful for your friendship, and I know I'm really excited to do this flag burning episode because it is very important for me for people to hear you and Phil's side of the story. I think they heard a little bit tonight, but to really, really hear your side, because I think it's going to change a lot. It changed my perspective of things when I finally took time to listen to your side. I think it's going to do the same for other people. So I really appreciate you coming on here, man. It's been a blast. Thanks for getting me into podcasting in the first place. You guys can all thank Phil and Alex for this podcast even being a thing, I guess, technically, right? But yeah, so I appreciate you coming on, and I will let you get the last words. You can say whatever you want to the 24 Down family, to whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so I mean, much love to the 24 Down family, even though I'm not really a big part of it. I was a little bit of part of it. Everybody, and I just have one question. Has anyone checked on Big Daddy? Is he doing all right? I know he's very political. He wasn't in DC last week, was he?
I don't think so.
Okay. No, it's been great. I mean, we did what, 2 hours? I mean, so many more stories. We definitely got to do a part 2.
For sure.
I will say again, the thoughts and impressions on this podcast is not exclusive to the 24 Down podcast. It is my thoughts. Sometimes, like I said, I got no hate for anybody. This was years ago. It's weird and cathartic to go back and think about all that stuff. Like the getting kicked out story I never told anybody before. And it's been fun. A lot of stories I don't remember that been people talk about. It's pretty crazy. I don't remember flipping off the school. But it is what it is. It was a big part of my life. Not something I think about anymore, but definitely something that really steered my course in my life. So thanks for hearing some of my story, and look forward to telling you many more.